or wage garnishments. Call for your free Fresh Start information now. 800-955-8408. That's 800-955-8408. 800-955-8408.
Blue Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Do you have questions about your water? What is a whole home filter? Is my softener working or not? Can I get rid of that red stain around the sink? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. We're here to fix problem water. We'll work with you to find the right solution for you. We've been serving the Fort Dodge area since 1949. Let us serve your water treatment needs. Sales, service, rentals. Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters, your complete water store.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
Who cares what people say about you? We love you.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
All right, here we go. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Yeah, Thursday. That means Denny Plotz with the Growth Alliance is here. How are you, Denny?
I'm doing good. How are
All
you?
right, man. All right. I know we're going to talk about the Catalyst Awards for the Growth Alliance annual dinner this winter. And I do want to do that because I think it's important. But I do want to, what I really want to talk to you about is this intermodal design downtown. You were probably a part of that because it's got your stamp all over it. When I picked up the paper on Sunday morning, I thought, there he is, Plotz, in action once again.
Well, actually, I was more involved in the intermodal facility that we have out at the college.
The intermodal facility we have out at the college.
The parking ramp was the money for that was awarded to the city back in the, oh boy, I don't know, 80s. And we weren't sure what to do with that, so we transferred it to the college, and they built a parking ramp out there. And then we redesigned the DART system. So
let's explain that a little bit more. So we wanted to get a parking ramp at the college.
Well, this has been long enough ago. This was an earmark.
Right.
And
is this something that our representatives got us, or we made an application to the state?
Our representatives arranged it. And
that's fine. That's what representatives are supposed to do, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely. Otherwise, it goes to Maine or
someplace,
New York City.
Oh, we're talking about our federal representatives.
Yes.
Okay. This would be Steve King.
Well, it was before Steve. This would have
been.
Oh,
that's right. In the 80s. So, God,
yeah.
We probably had six house seats at the time.
Well, we worked through Harkin. Well, actually, at that time, Tom Harkin arranged it.
Oh, U.S. Senator Harkin.
And Tom Latham.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do so much of this. It's hard to remember who did what for us.
Well, we're going back.
But they worked very well.
Don't worry.
together.
I'm not going to ask you what you did at a party in 1982.
Let's put it this way. I'm never going to be on the Supreme Court. No, but we did. And it was to build a ramp downtown. And at the time, there wasn't any need for it, really.
Right.
And we looked at working with Trinity at the time, and they didn't feel that they needed a ramp. Tom Tibbetts at the time wasn't real supportive of parking ramps. So then we worked with Bob Paxton and Jim Kirsten at the college to get it built there. And then they changed the DART routes so that there was regular pickup, of college students, getting them around town.
Mm-hmm.
And so conceptually, this is sort of the same thing, except bigger and in conjunction with two other projects, a rec center and the redevelopment of the Warden. But the concept is a place where people could come together, either walk to, ride a bike, drive a car, and then pick up a bus of some kind. So it's sort of a place various modes of transportation come together. And
is that what intermodal means?
Yeah, exactly.
I turn to you for my definition
acronyms
of acronyms and bureaucratic terms. Denny Plotz is my go-to guy all the way.
Yeah, I think the concept, even though I did not have a lot to do with this was a city project, is to both utilize an intermodal finance stream and have it become an intermodal site, as well as benefit both the rec center and the redevelopment of the Warden.
Okay.
So there would be space available, for three separate purposes.
So intermodal means where traffic converges and where parking converges.
Yep. Okay. Intermodes, maybe it'd be a better of transportation is what they're talking about.
Okay.
So, and the program, the mayor would probably know more than I do about this, but it's a program called Build that replaces the Tiger Grant applications, which is was a pool of money that could be utilized for a vast variety of projects and purposes, and this is sort of the successor to it. I guess it's the Donald Trump's Barack Obama's program, if you will.
I'm ready for that.
So
Okay.
so anyway, it's a big deal, and hopefully we'll get some support out of our delegation. And
Yeah, if we don't get support from our delegation, it's kind of a rough way to go, isn't it?
yeah, it's a big deal in what they're planning to do downtown.
It really is.
Yeah,
It
it's
really-
big. It's large sums of money, and there aren't a lot of programs out where you can get this much money. I don't recall exactly what they applied for, but it seems like it was, I don't know, it was millions.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this is mostly federal money,
It's all federal.
all federal. And,
Other-
and King was involved in this.
Oh yeah, King will be heavily involved in this.
Yeah, I was going to say Congressman King's going to be here Friday, or
Oh,
not
yeah.
Friday, Monday.
Perfect time to talk to him about
Yeah,
it.
Monday at 4, Congressman King will be here. So I don't know. I suppose you were aware of that. He'll be over at his office, I'm sure, on Central Avenue.
I actually was not aware of it yet.
Oh, weren't you? Yeah.
No.
Well, he'll be in town.
But thank you for the news.
You're you're welcome. He'll probably drop by and tune you up.
I don't always bring the news.
You don't always
Sometimes I
bring
come
it.
and pick it up here.
Well, I'm told he'll be here in the studio Monday at 4.
He has a pheasant hunt that he puts on coming up, the opening weekend of pheasants, which I would like to go on this year, but I happen to be in Montana at the time, so
Is
I
that
can't
right?
go.
What are you killing in Montana?
Well, we'll see. But the intention is elk, deer, and antelope.
Elk, deer, and antelope.
Yep.
Do you have to get 3 different tags for
You do.
those, or
You do.
how much are those to get an elk? for
Oh, they
example?
vary. They're plenty for a non-resident.
Mhm.
You're looking at, like deer and antelope, you're looking at a couple $100 as
Mhm.
compared to Iowa, where they're like $27.50 or something,
Mhm.
for a deer tag.
Is that all they are for a deer tag now? I used to pay.
They're about,
Back in my younger days, I think I paid $75 for one of those suckers.
no, I think they're somewhere $27-28, but then you have to buy your hunting license on top of the deer
Mhm.
license. So, when you're done, you've probably got $50 in it or something. But a non-resident coming into Iowa pays, I think, $375.
Doesn't stop them, boy. They
No.
come pouring across the border.
Now I go to Wisconsin, and there I pay $155. But it's become hot button issues all over the place on what non-residents pay. But they're a more regular buyer of licenses than even the residents are
Mm-hmm.
in terms of how much they fluctuate regardless of the price.
Well, I'll tell you, pheasant season every year we get out-of-state hunters coming here and blowing up the pheasant population, getting caught and fined
Yeah.
heavily. It no doubt means that there's a lot more they're getting away with it. But I'll tell you, go up in the north border with Minnesota, up in those top tier of counties, and in the fall of the year when pheasant season's going strong, there's Minnesota hunters all over the place.
Well, when I grew up and was a kid, we would road hunt a lot because
You could do that.
you could
then.
do it then.
Yeah, because there wasn't fall plowing. Those were my prime hunting days.
Oh,
Get a shotgun, find a farmer that will let you walk across his field. You come back with your limit.
well, I
2 hours.
I remember vividly driving around, with my dad and
Mm-hmm.
our neighbor before I could hunt, and seeing we would always talk about all of the out of state cars that we
Mhm.
would meet on the gravel roads.
Sure.
Because they didn't use dogs. They just drove and they'd see them in the ditch.
Yeah.
Drive up
Oh, yeah.
ahead, get out, and go back.
I blasted many a pheasant right out the rear car window. All day.
So anyway, but we'd see Florida cars in California.
Sure.
I had lunch with a gentleman today that's a vice president for one of our corporations here. He's out of state, but he's originally from Iowa. And he comes back every year and hunts Iowa more than he hunts his own state. And,
Really?
But again, he was from Iowa and grew up here. So,
By the way, I've been mourning here this past week the loss of a well-known Fort Dodge businessman. I haven't seen him in a long time. Phil Joslin, of course,
Right.
great golfer. You knew Phil.
yeah, very well.
What a fine man. And
I never heard him say a bad word about anybody.
no, that just wasn't in him, and very enthusiastic about golf and a great golfer, won a couple of tournaments and went to much larger tournaments around the country. And again, he moved to Urbandale a number of years ago, I believe.
Yeah, he's been gone for a long time.
Oh, 20 years, I would think.
Yeah, maybe longer.
Maybe longer than that. Yeah, you're right. But I really enjoyed him when he was just down the street here. He was just a top of the line guy.
Oh, yeah. He sold a lot of pencil and paper to the city of Fort Dodge in those days.
Sure. Oh, yeah. His dad before him, I didn't really know I knew him to see him, but his dad was a great golfer as well. And I remember going into the bar room of the old Sandstone Inn. We're going back in time here, the old Sandstone.
Yeah,
There was a picture of Marion Joslin. Remember how they had all those paintings on the wall
I do.
of the better golfers, and Marion was one of them, and better sportsman. Fort
Yeah,
Dodge.
well, he was known as Fort Dodge's golf guy. I mean, he was the guy.
Are you talking Marion or Phil?
Phil.
Phil,
I'm
yeah.
talking about Phil.
Oh,
'cause
I
I didn't
believe
know
that, yeah.
Marion, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I remember identifying him with, that and selling to City Hall all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, and that was his thing. He loved to sell, and he loved his business, and he loved golf, and yeah, as you say, he was always kind of an optimist. And
Yeah, I honestly, I mean that. I don't think I ever heard him be negative about anything.
yeah. Well, and he had problems in his life, as we all do, but he came through 'em with great good cheer and always a smile and stick his hand out and shake hands, pat you on the back. Good guy.
I'd always heard he was a heck of a card player too.
I never took that plunge with him, but I used to see him playing cards around town.
He played pitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to see him playing cards around town, and he was a big country club guy back in the
Right.
days, in the heydays of the country club. He'd play out there a lot, I think.
I think they would play at the country club, and I think they probably played at the Sandstone too. I know there were groups that
Yeah.
did, and there were a lot of the old guys. The Curly Rathermals,
Mm-hmm.
the
The old guys, yeah, they
Yeah.
are now.
yeah,
Of course, we're getting guys like Joslin passing away.
Chuck Doyle.
Chuck Doyle.
There's another one.
That generation, Joslin's generation, was a little bit before us. So
Yeah.
who's going to be the old guys?
I was the kid when Chuck and Curly and those guys were running the home builders, and just a pup. It is surprising how
Well, you still look like a pup, Denny. Just a gray pup. That's all. The Catalyst Awards, the Fort Dodge Catalyst Awards. What is it, in March? Is that when we'll have the dinner?
Well, I think right now it's tentatively set for the last Thursday in February.
All right.
But we're taking we'll start taking nominations now.
And what does that mean? What is a Catalyst Award?
Well, it's the award that we give. It's the highest award we give for somebody that's a member of the Alliance,
Mhm.
very active in the community, and a catalyst for ideas and a catalyst to get things done. Somebody that goes out and spends exemplary time on civic and community improvements, and and that can be on anything from Boy or Girl Scout board to leading a fundraiser for a hospital, cancer center, or anything in between. It's amazing to me when these come in each year. Some people you don't think are that involved, but you take a look at a resume, my word, they do things behind the scenes. So anyway, it's our highest award. It started out as a woman's award back in, I brought a sheet here. It was given out by the chamber in 1987,
Mm-hmm.
and Norma Schmoker was the first person to receive it.
Oh, really?
And it was called the Athena Award.
That's right. I remember that.
And then after a number of years, we decided that, well, first of all, the National Chamber charged an awful lot of money to be able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So we created our own award and made it eligible for either men or women. And that's when it became the Catalyst Award.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
Norma,
we've kind of kicked the chamber out of town, haven't we? We just got together. We just
well, the national, we still do all of the same things
At the
and
Grove
more.
Alliance.
But we're just not a member of the National Chamber organization. But Norma Schmoker won it the first year, or was awarded it. And then last year it was John Tietz from Northwest
John
Bank.
Tietz, good choice. John's a good guy.
But we've had
Did Matt Bemrick win one year? He
Matt
did. Didn't
has
he?
not won.
He has not.
Nope.
Well, he should.
I agree. We've had, I think last year there was probably, I don't exactly remember, but I'm guessing maybe 13, 14 people submitted,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of good ones. I saw as many good ones last year as I think I ever have. One thing that I've noticed over the years, because the committee that does the judging is an anonymous group of 7 people,
Mm-hmm.
plus the executive director, and it's all kept confidential. They all get cut up afterward and everything, and it's a variety of men and women. But the one thing I've seen, well, 2 things I've noticed. One is there's a lot of good people in the community that would be deserving, in my mind, that have never been put up for consideration. The other thing I noticed, there's an application that has to be filled out,
Mm-hmm.
and we go on what whoever submits it submits. We can't submit them ourselves. The committee
Mhm.
can't do that, and sometimes people don't fill them out well enough. And
Oh,
we don't
really?
want to put ourselves in a position of filling stuff out for somebody. So I've seen some of that too. And when people come in to pick up an application, or they can do it online, I tell them, fill go to their dad, their wife, their husband, their coworkers, or whatever, and find all the stuff you can find that people might not otherwise know. And we've had some of these folks that have been submitted. I was just shocked at the amount of stuff that,
Mhm.
that they've been involved in, but very quietly.
Sure.
Um,
Well, sometimes those are the most effective people.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm tempted to. I'm not going to name any names.
Oh,
but-
come on.
No, because what I was going to say is last year,
I thought Kirk Ferentz was reserved. My God.
for the last 2 years, there were a couple submitted that I had no clue, and you would know them both.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to release anything here, but just amazing stuff, and it made me appreciate the individuals a whole lot more than I ever did before. Once I found
Yeah,
out what they
sure.
do. So,
yeah, absolutely.
but
So there are submissions, and then who makes the decision? How is the decision made then?
then,
You obviously have a number of qualified people.
and there's a scoring system. You rank different things from 1 to 10 on how well they meet that. And those are questions that are asked, and people fill it out, and they describe how well a person meets certain qualifications. But anyway, the 7 people will score them anonymously. They go to Jill Nelson. She's the only one that sees, what is submitted back. And then she collates them all, and you come up with a final score, and that's how you end up with your winner. Like you, if somebody in the 4 categories had 10 points on all 4, that 1 of 7 would have given that person a 40. Somebody
Mhm.
else might give them a 9, therefore they got a 36. And when
Okay.
you get done, you take all 7 people's scores and you average them out, and you come up with somebody that's on top.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So, I
Well,
mean,
and that's coming up the last week of February, did you say?
yeah,
Okay.
we're still lining up a speaker. We're going to have an excellent speaker this year. I've got 4 of them in mind right now. And they would all 4 be people that very few, if any, in Fort Dodge would know. They'll be from out of the area and out of the state.
Mm-hmm.
But we hope to get a really good speaker in this year that people would love to hear. I was just looking at the list here, and there's some of the earlier years people that won. You might remember Norma was the first one. Dr. Joyce Garton Natty,
Mm-hmm.
Mary Sue Linney,
Sure. Yes, I do remember that name. Yes.
Claire Carlson,
Mm-hmm.
which would be Nick's grandmother, I
Mhm.
believe. Kayreen Agamo.
Sure. Kayreen. Wow. Haven't heard that name in a while.
Larry Hickey. Remember Larry?
Yes.
Used to run Certainteed out here.
Mm-hmm.
Mel Schroeder one time. Casey and Deb Johnson both won it.
Well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Well deserved.
So anyway,
all right. So if anybody wants to make a nominate someone, how should they do this?
they can just go online. The application will be on our website,
Okay.
or they can stop in at the office and we can walk them through it.
All right. Denny Plout, CEO of the Fort Dodge Growth Alliance. Thank you, Denny.
You're welcome.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at jmike1400.
All right. AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 231. David Osterberg in the next half hour. News coming up. In the meantime, we're going to go to Nutbush, Mississippi.
A church house, gin house, a schoolhouse, outhouse, on highway number 19. The people keep the city clean. They call it Nutbush. Oh, Nutbush.
When Pioneer says we're with you from the word go, we mean it.
I'm Brent Fort. I'm a sales rep for Pioneer in Ruthven, Iowa.
We were able to catch up with Brent for a few minutes on the phone. He's one of hundreds of Pioneer sales representatives in Iowa using global resources to take on local challenges.
There's a lot of focus on the economics of farming and maintaining high levels of yield while being able to trim costs, and that's what I try to provide.
He's working hard to keep farming going strong.
Our roots run deep in this area, and my brother and I have continued to grow the family farm and make it sustainable for future generations. My wife and I have a 2-year-old daughter named Quinn.
Being a farmer helps him collaborate with Pioneer customers.
Not only that we see the same issues from an economic standpoint as far as what works and what doesn't work, and it's more of a team effort.
Visit your area Pioneer sales representative for more local information.
I'm Brent Fort, and I'm with you from the word go.
We live in a prescription world. Seems like everywhere you turn, someone you know and love is using prescription pain medication on a regular basis. Sure, it helps with pain, but it could lead to damaging effects like headaches, digestive problems, addiction, and many other problems. So what do? Give us a try at Active Health Chiropractic and see how chiropractic care can be a better option for dealing with pain. Give us a call at Active Health Chiropractic, 227-7491.
Trust in Active Health Chiropractic and feel better today.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. A natural gas leak forced evacuations and the closure of businesses in Clarion on Wednesday afternoon. Wright County Emergency Management Director Jim Lesser reported a crew was burying fiber optic cable in the 100 block of 2nd Street Northwest when the gas line was struck. The accident caused the evacuation and sheltering in place of nearby residents. All downtown businesses were forced to close because of the accident. Detours were set up throughout Clarion, including the rerouting of traffic on Highway 3. Crews from Mid-American Energy were on the scene to make repair to the line. The repairs to the gas line were completed early this morning. All roadways were reopened to traffic at 2 a.m. The death of a well-known medical professional in Webster City is under investigation. Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies were sent to a home in Webster City Tuesday morning for a welfare check. The body of 59-year-old Gregory Pacala was found inside. He lived in the home. An autopsy is being performed. While investigators aren't saying how Pacala may have died, they are asking anyone with information on activity in the home to call the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. In addition, there's a $500 reward for tips that lead to an arrest. Pacala was a certified registered nurse anesthetist and treated patients at Advanced Pain Clinic, which has offices in Humboldt, Belmont, and Iowa Falls. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Scott Forbes announced today in a press release that he will be leaving Webster County Emergency Management starting on October 26th. Forbes said he has accepted an offer to work in the private sector of safety. Forbes thanked the members of the Emergency Management Commission and said he will support the commission in searching for his replacement and to help the new coordinator transition into the programs and projects under the agency. Officials with the Iowa Department of Public Safety's Division of Criminal Investigation are issuing a warning about a new telephone scam. Radio Iowa's Rick Hansen reports.
The scam targets citizens when callers posing as employees of the Iowa State Police claim they have seized a vehicle with drugs inside, and the vehicle is registered to the citizen they're calling. The calls seem to be originating from the 712 area code. If the citizen does not answer or hangs up on the initial call, a secondary call is being reported as coming from 911, with the callers becoming more verbally aggressive and claiming they're with the police and that they have a warrant for the citizen's arrest. So if you receive a similar phone call, contact your local law enforcement agency and the Iowa Attorney General's office hotline at 515-281-5926 or toll free at 888-777-4590. In Atlantic, I'm Rick Hansen for Radio Iowa News.
The University of Iowa has suspended 9 fraternities for violating a moratorium on alcohol at fraternity and sorority parties. The 9 fraternities were suspended Wednesday pending further investigation. University Vice President Melissa Shiver says the blatant and systemic failure to curb holding dangerous open events with alcohol, including tailgates, will stop. At a news conference Wednesday, Shivers didn't describe any specific events or incidents that led to the suspensions. The suspensions mean the chapters cannot participate in some organization-sponsored meetings, programs, social events, intramural sports, or homecoming events. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 44 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight, lows around 32. High temperatures reach up to 45 tomorrow. Temperatures well below average Saturday and Sunday with highs from the upper 30s to the mid 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 41.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 237. Yeah, that we went right from summer to nearly winter once again, didn't we? Weather this hour brought to us by, not weather, by God. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. I mentioned a little earlier, Philip Joslin has died, a longtime friend of practically everybody in Fort Dodge. Philip Edwin Joslin, 80 years old, has passed. Services for Phil Joslin will be at a later date. Edward DeBakey has died at the age of 95. His funeral was this morning. Patricia Chalstrom has died at the age of 87. Her funeral will be Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning at the First United Methodist Church here in town, of course. Judy Hill has died at the age of 64. Judy I. Hill, 64 years old, has died. There will be a celebration of her life at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the White House in Des Moines. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 238, with a look at the closing market report. Here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn up 6.5 at $3.69 March up 6.5 cents at $3.81 May corn up 6.5 at $3.88 July up 6.25 at $3.94 November soybeans up 6 cents at $8.58 January up 6.5 at $8.72 March up 6.25 at $8.85 May up 6.5 at $8.98 December wheat's down 2.5 at $5.08 Soybean meals up 80 cents a ton at $3.12.80 October live cattle up 55 at $112.62 December up 30 cents at $116.77 October feeder cattle up 82 cents at $156.72 November up 57 at $156.75 October lean hogs up 20 cents at $68.67 December down $152 at $54.42 From the Alpha Media Farm Desk, I am Dwayne Murley.
Michael Devine with breaking news and stimulating talk.
Please meet Katie. Katie says she needs to tell her fiance the truth before their baby is born. Katie, what's going on?
Well, I'm 4 months pregnant, Jerry, and I've been cheating on him with another woman.
Well, at least we know whose baby it is.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Do you ever get tired of watching bad things happen to people?
Sticking up for you when no one else will.
Woo, good.
Yeah, that's quite an intro for David Osterberg of the Iowa Policy Project. How are you, David? I always try to give you a big send-up before you're on.
You do. That's, I'm still trying to figure out the baby thing. I don't know why that introduced me.
No, it didn't necessarily introduce you. It just drew people to what was happening on the radios. It didn't really. I don't know. Are you still having kids at your age, David? That's a little.
No, I think not.
David Osterberg is a co-founder of the Iowa Policy Project, a group in Iowa City dedicated to research that they hope will affect public policy. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what a cynic I am. I just, fact and politics just do not belong in the same sentence. So,
well,
and David's going to disagree with me.
Let me. Here's something that actually. Here's some politics.
Some fact happened.
We don't do politics. We do data, information.
Right.
But last night in the debate that Kim Reynolds and Fred Hubble had, they talked about cliff effects. Both of them did, But the interesting thing is neither one of them explained it very well at all. And but we can. That's what we do here at the Iowa Policy Project.
All right.
So here's the cliff. This is what the cliff effects are. You have this thing that says how poor you need to be in poverty, right?
Right.
Okay. Family of four. If your income's around $25,000, you're poor.
How much?
25,000 for a family of four.
Okay, so I'm not officially poor yet.
No,
okay, good.
No, and for a family of one, it's less than that.
Mm-hmm.
So we give child care assistance to people in order to encourage them to get out and work at 145% of the poverty level. Okay, so that would be like 37,000 roughly. Okay. That you make 37,000 if two people are out working and they're both making $8.60 an hour. Okay, that's all.
I know.
And here's what happens. So let's say one of them gets a raise of 50 cents. So 50-cent raise over a couple thousand hours a year full time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's let's say it's an extra $1,000. They get an extra $1,000 from the paycheck, but then they lose all their child care assistance, which is worth $8,000. So no one would take that job increase.
No, well, and I've seen this repeated time and time again. Why are we so stupid? Why are we so hard on the people who are the poorest in the state and in the country? $25,000 for a family of four.
Okay, so here's what you do about the cliff effects. One of them, 145% is just very, very low compared to other states. So you boost it to 200% of poverty. That takes care of part of the problem. But what you really need to do is you need to feather things in. So if you take a higher wage and make another $1,000 a year, you don't lose all your child care credits from the state. You lose, say, $500. That will still give you an incentive to take that better job. And that's all you have to do to get rid of cliff effects.
Mm-hmm.
And now, both of the candidates talked about that, but neither one of them explained it like I just did. And it's a pretty simple explanation. So if people want to know about cliff effects, they should come to the Iowa Policy Project website.
Ah, yes, we should. Let me go there now.
Yeah, go there now and you'll see what I'm talking about. And we even have a nice graph. It's in color. And so you see that as you increase your wages, hourly wage along the bottom, the horizontal axis, that goes up by a little bit. And the effect on your total family income is a decrease.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cliff effect. That's dumb. Nobody should do that. And I'm glad both of them said something about it. I wish one of them would have explained it better.
Well, part of conservative ideology is the best thing we can do for poor people is to force them to get any kind of job.
Yeah, right.
They'll be better off for it. No, not necessarily.
No. And again, think about this. When we're not just dealing with the people, we're also dealing with the kids, damn it.
Yeah, really.
We have education. We believe in education. We believe that people ought to be able to go to school up to at least a grade 12 by not having to pay a whole bunch of money. We have public education. It's good for the entire economy. It's not just that we want to be nice to kids.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kids who are going to be paying our Social Security. Let's be sensible.
Well, and that's a little bit of self-serving meanness there. I never really bought that.
Well,
argument.
okay. I was just trying to. I don't know what your audience is. I'm just trying to say.
I know.
I can make the argument pretty conservative.
I wasn't addressing that to you directly, but to some of my conservative listening audiences. Sometimes, and I have a lot of conservative listeners. But we need to be real here. We need to be objective in our approach to the truth, and frankly, that is offensive to my idea of Christian liberalism. The liberalism in the United States began with Christians.
Yeah,
they were opposed to slavery. They fought poverty as Jesus commanded us to do or directed us to do, and that was the Christian beginnings of liberalism. It's gotten a little twisted, of course, but the conservative response to what I still call Christian liberalism is a little warped as well. We do have to take care of children in our state. That's medical care, that's education, that's housing. And that's, the parents can be irresponsible blockheads, and a lot of times that they are. That doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and that's why you want to do something like childcare to give that kid a good start. And so you ought to do things in a way. The cliff effects are just bad for all kinds of reasons. So nobody should support them. And the two candidates last night, both of them said there ought to be ways of getting rid of these cliff effects.
Well, actually, I thought of you guys at the Iowa Policy Project last night when I was watching the debate a little bit. Hubble was talking about tax giveaways. Now, if you go to the Iowa Policy Project website, there under special topics, there it is, tax giveaways.
Tax giveaways.
So Osterberg is running Hubble.
We don't like them. Why does anybody? Wait. Who is the one that says, I'm for tax giveaways? That's what I'm running on. Come on. No, but the point is here that the background for something like a political debate ought to be real data, strong data, and that's what we produce. We're not the political part of it. We are the data part of it. And if you say, well, I don't know if I believe that, come see if we have a paper on it. We have these 2-page papers. You don't have to read very much. And we have 8 of them on. And when I usually come on and talk with you, I'm talking about water quality or energy. We have one on each. But we also have one on what we just been talking about, cliff effects, and one on tuition also. What has happened with tuition, or what has not happened? I mean, we have just so underfunded higher education. It's crazy. You go back to 2000, 2001, and compare it to 2016, and it used to be that the state put in 63% of what it costs to educate a kid at the University of Iowa. They dropped that to 34%. What do you think happened? Tuition went up.
Yes, it did. And if you make education available only to the top tier income in the state, you have a problem as far as
you have a big problem. And that's so now I could be considered self-serving because I'm an emeritus professor from the University of Iowa. But they also cut community colleges by $20 million over that period. Come on.
Yeah, community. Of course, we have Iowa Central here in town. And we're always talking about a trained workforce. We had a business called Misty Harbor expand to Humboldt, which is 16 miles north of us. They closed because they apparently couldn't hire enough skilled workers to expand in this area. I mean, they're still here in Fort Dodge. They're running a thriving business here in Fort Dodge. And when they tried to expand, they didn't have the skilled workforce, period.
Well, we need, the way that happens is you make the opportunities available, and by golly, people are going to take them. You and I agree on that.
Yes.
I don't know if it's Christian liberalism or what it is. But
well, it doesn't,
people.
That's just the history of liberalism in the United States, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's taken many different forms over the years. I mean, by different members of many different faiths or no faiths at all. I mean, liberalism is as wide and encompassing as conservatism is. I've always thought there were three branches of conservatism. There's the country club group.
Right.
There's the country club group,
right,
and there's
right.
the nationalist group, which I kind of identify with. The nationalist group is kind of embodied in Pat Buchanan in his writings and thinking. People like to dismiss Pat Buchanan, but really, he's really a very bright guy with a great grasp of history and literature, and then we have more the how would I call them, the internationalists, the globalists in the conservative movement, and the country clubbers, by the way, are separate from the globalists in my mind. As the country clubbers want to keep things cool for them here in the United States, but that's and there's a lot of different factions to the Democratic Party. I hardly even recognize them now. But anyway, David Osterberg is our guest at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I know you really didn't come to talk about tax giveaways, but I will bring this up because it stuck out in my mind as I watched Reynolds and Hubble last night, that Hubble was talking about the many flaws in the privatization of Medicaid. And frankly, I believe that it was a mistake for the Republicans to privatize Medicaid. That was something that Terry Branstad wanted to do. He was seized by his privatization ideology all these years, and he finally got this done with Medicaid because it's a big government program. But Governor Reynolds did say, well, I don't exactly remember what she said, but she brought up the cost of Medicaid. Said, we can't afford this. Now that gave me pause. Can we afford to take care of our people here in Iowa who need a medical treatment?
And again, a bunch of that goes to, Aunt Alice in a nursing home. That's where it goes. It's not that we have these people who are lazy, who are, laying about and not
I know.
working. This is Aunt Alice, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right, and that's a growth industry in our part of the world. Is convalescent homes.
Yeah,
and we have an older population, especially in our area. You got all those kids down there at the University of Iowa, but out here in the hinterlands, I'll tell you, we have a lot of rest homes. I don't know how many we have here in Fort Dodge right off the top of my head, but we have Friendship Haven, which is a very big and well-established rest home. Started by the Methodist Church. There's those Christian liberals again.
Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, and the Marian Home, which is affiliated with the Catholics here in town, and they're fine facilities, by the way, fine facilities. But you're right, 100%. If Sam Clovis, and I know you're in the opposite end of the political and ideological spectrum from Sam Clovis, but Sam Clovis used to talk about how expensive it was to keep people alive who were really at the end of their lives. I think he gave me 30 to 40% of the total budget at that time was going to people to keep people alive with really no hope of. I mean, they were dying of old age.
You're right.
And they were on respirators, and the family can't let go, and it goes on and on and on. And the calculator keeps counting up the money. I don't. That's the conversation I suppose we should be having.
Well, I think so. Remember that was Chuck Grassley and Death Panels that.
Right.
Right. And exactly. I mean, there were people. Well, this is straying way away from the stuff we generally talk about, which I'm talking about, which is what are the numbers? Just how much has tuition gone up at the University of Iowa? How much has state support gone down, and why are they related? Well, they're pretty obviously related. But, end of life stuff, I don't know if I want to talk much about it. But I'd rather have some choice rather than telling me I had none.
Did you hear how Osterberg's reeling me back in, ladies and gentlemen? He's trying to get me. He's been on the air with me for years, so he knows I have a tendency to get off God knows where.
I do. And by the way, I should say this. It's cold in this office, and I have a sweatshirt on.
Ah, the Mike Devine Talk Radio sweatshirt.
It is the Mike Devine.
All right.
I'm sort of channeling Mike Devine here.
There, you could channel worse things. You could channel worse things. Is enrollment at the university? You're down at the University of Iowa. Are you still on staff at Cornell or not?
Cornell's not doing so well. Coe College in Cedar Rapids is doing amazingly well.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they really are doing well. But Iowa on purpose decided not to be taking so many students. So there's, why do you want to grow just for the purpose of growing? What you want to do is educate the people who come and educate them really well. And so they made that decision not to be as aggressive. And that probably would help places like Cornell, because that's who that extra 1,000 or so students, when Bruce Rafstetter was going to change the way that colleges, the Regents colleges, UNI, Iowa State got compensated, was going to be what was called butts in seats, Iowa butts in seats. If it was an Iowa kid at the University of Iowa, you'd get compensated. If it was an Illinois kid, you wouldn't.
Okay.
That caused the Iowa to go out and get another 1,000 students because they knew how to do it, but it came from places like Cornell. I thought it was a terrible thing.
Well, colleges have a business aspect to them, and I suppose they were trying to get all the customers, so to speak, paying customers that they can.
I don't think they talk. I think that they are the for-profits do that. There are a bunch of for-profit colleges out there that, frankly, I just never let one of my kids go to. I really, because there are all these things that cost not about the same, like Coe or Cornell or Indiana, lots of places. They're great. Clark up in Dubuque, a wonderful college.
Yeah, my daughter-in-law graduated from Clark.
Oh, okay.
And,
I'm saying the right things.
Oh, you're hitting all the right buttons. Dubuque's a nice little town too. I mean, that's a great little town up there, Dubuque.
It is.
I love Dubuque. It's a great place. Yeah, they have Loras, Clark, and the University of Dubuque, which is affiliated with the Presbyterian Church. I don't know how those Presbyterians got into that Catholic town, but they did. So.
I don't know either.
But it's a nice little college, the University of Dubuque.
Yeah, I think, and Dubuque is getting to be one of the things about Dubuque is they have kind of done their economic development based on sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
They really have decided that we're going to care about people, right? We always try to do that, but we're also going to make this place a whole lot more beautiful. And because when you make water, when you take up some of the stuff you've done to a stream and you bring the stream back to what it used to look like, one, it's more beautiful. Two, it doesn't flood as many houses.
Now, there's an idea.
There's a wonderful idea, and Dubuque has really embraced that. I think that saying that the best, the most environmental building is the one you don't knock down to put up the one that's LEED certified. So they've really gone through, and you can get things that would be called lofts in New York City, and they'd be hundreds of thousands of dollars probably a month, and you can get one in Dubuque for a tenth of it or half of it, or I don't know.
Well, if you ever go to Dubuque, go to Catfish Charlie's Restaurant. It's right on the river there. It's a great place.
Sounds like I'd like it.
All right, David Osterberg, thank you very much.
Good to talk to you.
Always good. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Domestic violence thrives in silence. But if we take a stand and work together, we can end domestic violence. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and purple is the color of domestic violence awareness. Let everyone know you are paying attention and taking action to end domestic violence by wearing purple this month. You can also help break the silence by coming to the Candlelight Vigil Thursday night, October 18th at 6 p.m. at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Fort Dodge. Please join DSOC in the fight to end domestic violence.
We are the land of the free because of the brave. Alpha Media and Graham Tire want to thank our local military men and women for their service. We'll have our Wall of the Brave displayed at Graham Tire in Fort Dodge. Stop out to Graham Tire and sign the wall as a show of support for our military. You can even give a shout out to an active or former military person at yourfortdodge.com. All names will be recognized on air, and your service man or woman might even be the winner of a grand prize package worth over $800. On Friday, November 9th, we'll announce the lucky winner. Then on Saturday, November 10th, we'll We'll have a live broadcast party for our winner, all nominees, and our listeners. Nominate your former or active military service person now at yourfortdodge.com. Then head out to Graham Tire in Fort Dodge and sign our Wall of the Brave. This special Veterans promotion is sponsored by Graham Tire, Sestech Builders, Rampton Trucking, Misty Harbor, J&M Construction, Iowa Outdoor Store, Sears Hometown Store, Olson Ironworks, the Blue Moose Saloon, and Alpha Media Fort Dodge.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. News is next. KVFD, Fort Dodge, Iowa.
For exciting Panther sports, keep it right here on your home for University of Northern Iowa sports in North Central Iowa. The voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
This is a Fox News alert. Stocks plunge again. The Dow down 547 points at the closing bell, extending the sell-off, fueled in part by interest rate concerns. Bank and energy stocks among the biggest losers today, along with tech stocks again. The Dow had been down nearly 700, slipping under 25K for a time during the session, but it finishes back over 25K, still down over 500. Door-to-door searches in the rubble, where neighborhoods were leveled by Hurricane Michael in the Florida Panhandle.
What we saw driving in here was just miles and miles of trees that were snapped off at the trunk. A powerful demonstration of just how much force this hurricane brought ashore.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Callaway near landfall, the president offering prayers and help.
We will do everything in our power to help those in need, and we will not rest or waver until the job is done and the recovery is complete.
What's now Tropical Storm Michael still headed northeast, dumping heavy rain on the hurricane-weary Carolinas and Virginia. Turkey still accusing Saudi Arabia of killing a missing Saudi journalist. The Saudi Arabians still deny it. Fox's John Decker, live at the White House.
President Trump said the U.S. is expecting a report soon on the fate of missing Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was last seen entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey.
But we're looking for the answer, and I think probably you'll have an answer sooner than people think.
Separately, American pastor Andrew Brunson reportedly may return to the U.S. soon after a secret deal was made between the U.S. and Turkey. Turkey arrested Brunson on terrorism charges after accusing him of having a hand in the failed 2016 military coup. The U.S. and Brunson both deny he had anything to do with it. Lisa?
John, thanks. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield, another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Federal investigators out with their preliminary finding about the cause of deadly gas explosions in 3 Massachusetts towns last month.
The NTSB says explosions that damaged homes and other buildings in the towns of Lawrence, Andover, and North Andover were caused when high-pressure gas filtered through low-pressure distribution lines. Columbia Gas, which operates the lines, could not adjust valves to reduce the pressure. That set off warning alarms and led to the explosions and fires that investigators say damaged 131 structures. NiSource, parent company of Columbia Gas, issued a statement saying they are fully cooperating with the ongoing probe and has suspended similar work on low-pressure systems in light of the incident. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
NASA and the Russian Space Agency are investigating what went wrong with a launch early today.
The 2-man crew of a Russian spacecraft, including an American, had to make an emergency landing today after the second stage of its rocket booster failed at liftoff. U.S. astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin landed safely and without harm after their capsule separated from the booster and took a steep ballistic descent with parachute in the steppes of Kazakhstan. It was Haig's first attempt to get into space. He was going to be docking with the International Space Station for a stay on the orbiting craft. The Russian space program has been plagued recently with technical problems. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Recapping the sell-off for another day on Wall Street, the Dow drops 545 points. At one point, it was down more, nearly 700, dropping under 25K, but it finishes right around 25,052, down over 2%, though. Crude oil sliding over 3%. The S&P and the NASDAQ also selling off today. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. A natural gas leak forced evacuations and the closure of businesses in Clarion on Wednesday afternoon. Wright County Emergency Management Director Jim Lesser reported a crew was burying fiber optic cable in the 100 block of 2nd Street Northwest when the gas line was struck. The accident caused the evacuation and sheltering in place of nearby residents. All downtown businesses were forced to close because of the accident. Detours were set up throughout Clarion, including the rerouting of traffic on Highway 3. Crews from Mid-American Energy were on the scene to make repair to the line. The repairs to the gas line were completed early this morning. All roadways were reopened to traffic at 2 a.m. The death of a well-known medical professional in Webster City is under investigation. Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies were sent to a home in Webster City Tuesday morning for a welfare check. The body of 59-year-old Gregory Pacala was found inside. He lived in the home. An autopsy is being performed. While investigators aren't saying how Pacala may have died, they are asking anyone with information on activity in the home to call the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. In addition, there's a $500 reward for tips that lead to an arrest. Pacala was a certified registered nurse anesthetist and treated patients at Advanced Pain Clinic, which has offices in Humboldt, Belmont, and Iowa Falls. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Scott Forbes announced today in a press release that he will be leaving Webster County Emergency Management starting on October 26th. Forbes said he has accepted an offer to work in the private sector of safety. Forbes thanked the members of the Emergency Management Commission and said he will support the commission in searching for his replacement and to help the new coordinator transition into the programs and projects under the agency. Officials with the Iowa Department of Public Safety's Division of Criminal Investigation are issuing a warning about a new telephone scam. Radio Iowa's Rick Hansen reports.
The scam targets citizens when callers posing as employees of the Iowa State Police claim they have seized a vehicle with drugs inside and the vehicle is registered to the citizen they're calling. The calls seem to be originating from the 712 area code. If the citizen does not answer or hangs up on the initial call, a secondary call is being reported as coming from 911, with the callers becoming more verbally aggressive and claiming they're with the police and that they have a warrant for the citizen's arrest. So if you receive a similar phone call, contact your local law enforcement agency and the Iowa Attorney General's office hotline at 515-281-5926 or toll free at 888-777-4590. In Atlantic, I'm Rick Hansen for Radio Iowa News.
The University of Iowa has suspended 9 fraternities for violating a moratorium on alcohol at fraternity and sorority parties. The 9 fraternities were suspended Wednesday pending further investigation. University Vice President Melissa Shiver says the blatant and systemic failure to curb holding dangerous open events with alcohol, including tailgates, will stop. At a news conference Wednesday, Shivers didn't describe any specific events or incidents that led to the suspensions. The suspensions mean the chapters cannot participate in some organization-sponsored meetings, programs, social events, intramural sports, or homecoming events. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 44 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight, lows around 32. High temperatures reach up to 45 tomorrow. Temperatures well below average Saturday and Sunday with highs from the upper 30s to the mid 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 41.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
The free iHeartRadio app keeps you connected anywhere you go. More than just your favorite radio stations from all over the country. It's personalized radio with your favorite artists. Type in your favorite artist and we'll build you a station with all that artist's best music. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. iHeartRadio.
First State Bank, first for you.
Switching banks can be overwhelming, but when you switch to First State Bank, their personal bankers will walk you through the entire process and take away all your confusion. Their personal bankers are top-notch in customer service. They're always first for you. The friendly bank in your hometown is First State Bank, online at fsbwc.com. Member FDIC, equal housing and equal opportunity lender.
First State Bank, first for you.
At Rank Seed, we've supported our farmers for more than 170 years. Our knowledge and expertise will help guide you through the ups and downs of life on the farm. Like when you discover your hen house has become a gambling house.
Triple dog dare ya! Straight! Flush! Winner,
You've got enough to worry about. Let us take care of your seed. Rank Seed.
Hi, I'm Michael Devine with Divine Intervention at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. From 2 to 5, Monday through Friday, I'll be on the air talking local issues, local politics, local concerns. The only way this works, once again, is to have you join the conversation by calling 515-955-1400. Afternoons, 2 to 5, Divine Intervention. Please join the conversation. And I want to thank Alpha Media for allowing this program on the air in a town the size of Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
Let my people go. Fear not. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord.
If you don't listen to him, you suck.
He's sneaky, but he's right.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Hey, you can join the program now on YouTube. Great clarity on YouTube. Hey, little Nutbush. Nutbush, Tina Turner, Ike Turner. Come on now. All right, if you want to join this program, it's 515-955-1400, 515-955-1400. You can vote now. If you're not doing anything this afternoon, go over to the courthouse and vote. It's easy as that. I haven't done it myself yet, but early voting started on Monday, and I really feel bad that I haven't gotten over there yet. It's been kind of a busy week, but I'll get it done tomorrow. I will vote by tomorrow, and I urge you to vote. There's a lot of different ways to vote. I don't think there's any voter suppression. That's another paranoid fantasy of the Democratic Party. It's another way to stir people up and get people excited and that sort of thing. And it means nothing. It means nothing. All these scare tactics, all the anger and rage. And I know it's going on. It's going on in town here. I've heard people getting calls and just being yelled at. And how could you do this? How could you support that person? On and on and on and on. That's not the way we do things here, is it? I don't know. Congressman Steve King will be here Monday at 4 to answer your questions if you'd like. And Congressman King has always been very accessible to this radio program, and I appreciate it. Also, John O'Brien, who's running to be our next state senator, his opponent, of course, Senator Tim Greinbrink. John will be here Wednesday at 4, I believe. Wednesday at 4 o'clock. I think that's the appointment I made with him. So I'm looking for 4:30, I guess. He'll be here at 4:30. Yeah, 20 minutes of airtime is what he gets. So John O'Brien will be here at 4:30 on Wednesday to tell us why he should be our next state senator. Now, I usually don't take calls or allow calls while one of our local people is on the air making their case, because I'm allowing 20 minutes. The station's allowing 20 minutes for each candidate. And by the way, if you see Eugene Melvin Newsom, tell him he's got 20 minutes coming if he wants to take advantage of it. Just call the station, 955-5656. But all candidates are welcome to 20 minutes of time here on this radio station. Now, I have given Ann Meyer a couple of extra bumps there, I guess, if you want to call it, a couple of extra appearances on this show. So her opponent will get a couple of times yet on the air. And Tim and Mike Sexton, of course, haven't been on for a while now, and they won't be on between now and the election. So, but John O'Brien certainly gets his 20 minutes. And again, that's 4:30 this Wednesday. We have some good candidates, and there's some convincing arguments. Of course, as an old Democrat, and I know Webster County, and especially Fort Dodge, was a seriously Democratic labor town for a long time. But the Democratic Party has moved away from the laboring classes. The men and women who worked at Old Tobin plant, packing plant that became Hormel and was here for many years, wouldn't recognize the Democratic Party today and probably wouldn't support it. The Democratic Party today is too addicted to money. That's all there is. They believe that it takes a lot of money to win an election. This was the Bill and Hillary Clinton position. It takes a lot of money to win elections, so we have to get all we can. And it doesn't. You remember when Bill and Clinton was being impeached, he was still out raising money. And he was in his second term as president. He was an awesome fundraiser. And that's how Hillary Clinton got the nomination in 2016. Money. They built, their argument was, Bill and Hillary Clinton's argument was, look, we built the financial structure that supports the Democratic Party today, and they were right. Clinton had to bail the DNC out. The DNC was broke. They didn't have any money. Clintons had all the money. Imagine that. The Clintons had all the money. But the Democratic Party is, because of the Clintons and others, is addicted to money. They're focused on illegal immigration for some reason. They're completely focused on gender and race. They are not focused on how people are living. They are not focused whatsoever on how the laboring classes are living. I don't know what they're doing to support business, little or nothing. But they are focused again on gender and race and illegals. Fred Hubbell was talking last night during the debate with Governor Reynolds. Oh, yes, we're going to turn this Medicaid thing around. We're going to bring it back under state control. And Governor Reynolds asked a very, very good question. Can we really afford this? Or that's not verbatim, but she brought up the fact that privatization was going to save us money, and we have to save money, or otherwise the program is going to be in trouble. Now, maybe Fred's going to take some of his massive fortune and prop up Medicaid if it returns to state control. I don't know. But I'm not seeing what the Democrats are trying to do. I'm not seeing it. Once again, they're not the Republican Party. You know, for a bunch of people who think they're a pretty bright group, they don't listen. They don't listen, and they don't learn from their own mistakes. Yeah, you can have a party focused on gender and race, and you can achieve what Bill Clinton called a gorgeous mosaic. You can force by government edict any thoughts that gay behavior may be abnormal. You can wipe out racism or a mention of racism. You can run around policing the language, have actual language police. And you'll still have poverty supported by an authoritarian government. You'll still have terrible poverty supported by an authoritarian government because that's how the Democrats are seen. Middle-class liberalism is itself flawed in that way. Let me give you that again. Middle-class liberalism, there's a strain of middle-class liberalism that is authoritarian. Now, polling subsequent to 2016 has shown that many people did not vote for Donald Trump. Many people did not vote for Donald Trump, but they voted against Hillary Clinton because she represented a self-indulgent, privileged authoritarianism that was and is offensive to the free spirit of the American people. Older Americans, most certainly. It's not misogyny, not older women instinctively voting with their husbands like sheep. That's all offensive. It's the disregard, even contempt, that Democrats of the Clinton ilk convey to working people. With Clinton, there is no hope for a better life. That was the very strong belief in 2016, and I think it carries over today. With elite upper middle class liberalism, there is no hope for a better life for the rest of us. None. No one believed Trump when he talked about changing globalism, which was hurting working people. Remember Obama out in San Francisco talking to all those millionaire environmentalists that Nancy Pelosi had arranged for him? Well, you know, man, they those people, the job's been gone for 25 years, so they're clinging to their religion and guns. Gee. How offensive is that? No one believed Donald Trump when he talked about changing globalism, but desperate people do desperate things. Nobody listened. They're still not listening. Oh, there's going to be a blue wave, and then we're going to get you. Who are they going to get? Who are they going to punish? Who are they going to punish? Well, the deplorables. Who are the deplorables? Well, you are. Turns out Donald Trump knows how to handle elitism. He slaps liberal. I can't believe how easy it is for him to negotiate around these supposedly brilliant people. Brilliant and compassionate. Of course, compassionate. Let me get that in there. They dropped that compassionate thing this time around, didn't they? They've got their own groups of torch-bearing mobs that are moving through the streets at night, yelling for power, screaming for power. Yes, we're going to take power and wreak our vengeance on you. Again, who are these people? Who is you? Well, I guess that's you. That would be you, wouldn't it? Yes, that's who they're talking about punishing. I've been trying to get big, fat, comfortable liberals to take responsibility for their part in electing Donald Trump for 2.5 years. Hasn't happened. Why? Those who support economic populism, and I'm obviously one of them, those who support economic populism are seen as racists by liberals. Racist, dim, and deplorable. Well, you know, we're going to have all the privileges and we're going to trickle down a few things to you, no matter how hard you work, no matter how hard your physical labor is. Don't worry, we'll privatize Medicare for you. Those are the big concerns. Yeah, that's their belief. There's no evidence to support that. It's just a prejudice they have. The Kavanaugh thing cost the Democrats the Senate. The Democrats could have taken the United States Senate. They are not going to now. They probably will take the House, but the Kavanaugh hearings and how ugly they were, how ugly the Democrats presented themselves, probably cost them a few seats in the House. Wow. Cory Booker was in Iowa. You know, Spartacus? Senator Booker T. Copperfield, as I like to call him. Just excoriating Brett Kavanaugh. And then admitting when he was in college, not high school, he used to get drunk and, well, cop a feel every now and then himself. Somehow he was forgiven. Kavanaugh and the Republicans remain evil in the eyes of the anti-Kavanaugh people. Now, once the Democrats get a hold of the U.S. House of Representatives, they're going to spend a lot of time and money impeaching Donald Trump. They'll come up with some cockamamie reason. Oh, they're back with the Russians thing now. Now that Kavanaugh thing is over and they lost, they're back talking about the Russians. Yes, Russian tanks will be in Kansas City pretty soon, thanks to Donald Trump. God. You know what's lost in all of this? You know what's lost in all these lofty discussions and all this anger and rage? You and I. You and I are lost in all of this. There's no consideration for any policy at the state or federal level about how that policy affects you and I. Governor Reynolds and the Democratic Party, or several in the Democratic Party, and I will ask J.D. Schulten if I can get him in here about E-Verify. I bet he's opposed. He's barking about Steve King and his anti-immigrant thing. Oh, King's a racist. King's so terrible. Oh, my God. Well, okay. Congressman wannabe. Do you support E-Verify? That's a simple question. It's not a perfect solution, but the company I work for uses it. It's not a big deal from what I understand. It's not a big deal, as you've heard people on this radio station make it out to be. Governor Reynolds, by the way, holds the same position on E-Verify and illegal immigration as some of our Democratic people. So if you think that maybe, and let's look at our history, when we did have packing plants in town, you have to be an older person to remember these years, but we did have heavily unionized packing plants in this town. And they made anywhere from $10 to $12 an hour in the 70s. In the 70s. Now, Ronald Reagan broke these unions, but the unions lay dormant and worked like dogs to elect Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton screwed him. Bill Clinton stabbed him right in the back with NAFTA. NAFTA made it easier for companies to move overseas for cheap labor, and they did in droves. Thank you, Bill Clinton and the New Democrats. I don't blame Republicans for being Republicans. Republicans are anti-labor. They do want a low labor rate. Talk to business people in this town, they'll tell you there's low labor costs in Fort Dodge, and there have been for a long time. So, what do we hear from our Democratic candidates on this issue? Zip, nada, nothing. Nothing. That's why I believe, absolutely, I don't believe it, it's a fact as far as I'm concerned, that all of this smoke and all of this noise, really, you and I don't seem to count. You and I don't seem to count. I've always believed that we need a third party in the United States. It's a tremendously hard thing to do, but what we have is a blend of really one party. Oh, yeah, the Republicans make a big deal about abortion, but, those at the very top don't care. They don't care about abortion. They don't. The Democratic Party does. The Democratic Party works to protect the LGBTQ community or immigrants. If you ain't that, you don't count. If you're a working person in Fort Dodge and in Webster County or in this district, good luck, pal. You're on your own. You don't have a representative. We need an actual representative here. We need a representative that will address the concerns of working people and stop talking down their nose to us. Another policy down in Des Moines is not going to do it. Another policy, is that really what we're talking about? Oh, here's my policy proposals. You see, we're much better than Republicans. Really? Just a little around the edges, maybe, but not really. So, again, there will be those who try to get you worked up, to try to get you to hate this one or that one. Think for yourself. Ask yourself, am I going to be better off? Is my wife, is my husband, are my kids, are we going to be better off? Is it going to be easier for me to insure my family? Can I buy a house? Do I have any chance at all of bettering myself in life? Or is all I'm ever going to do is be able to work out here and never get anywhere. Just survive. Because I'll tell you, the answer so far from the parties is yeah, that's what you're going to have to do.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
All right, yeah, 329 news weather is next. Mayor Matt Bemrick coming at 4. This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Come out.
A church house, gin house, a schoolhouse, outhouse, on highway number 19. The people keep the city clean. They call it Nutbush. Oh, Nutbush. Call it Nutbush city limit.
I'm Amy Arrett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. It's very meaningful to me when I hear customers talk about how Madison Reed at-home hair color has changed their lives. Here's Vicky, one of our very first customers.
Coloring my own hair is easier than I ever imagined. The best part, I no longer have to sit in a salon and pay over $100 to have this done. Now I color it when it's convenient for me, and it takes less than an hour. People compliment me on how great my color is, and my hair is incredibly soft and healthy looking.
Experience beautiful, multi-dimensional, ammonia-free, salon-quality color for under $25. Join the hundreds of thousands of women who have tried and loved Madison Reed. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code TRUST. That's code TRUST. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. A natural gas leak forced evacuations and the closure of businesses in Clarion on Wednesday afternoon. Wright County Emergency Management Director Jim Lesser reported a crew was burying fiber optic cable in the 100 block of 2nd Street Northwest when the gas line was struck. The accident caused the evacuation and sheltering in place of nearby residents. All downtown businesses were forced to close because of the accident. Detours were set up throughout Clarion, including the rerouting of traffic on Highway 3. Crews from Mid-American Energy were on the scene to make repair to the line. The repairs to the gas line were completed early this morning. All roadways were reopened to traffic at 2 a.m. The death of a well-known medical professional in Webster City is under investigation. Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies were sent to a home in Webster City Tuesday morning for a welfare check. The body of 59-year-old Gregory Pacala was found inside. He lived in the home. An autopsy is being performed. While investigators aren't saying how Pacala may have died, they are asking anyone with information on activity in the home to call the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. In addition, there's a $500 reward for tips that lead to an arrest. Pacala was a certified registered nurse anesthetist and treated patients at Advanced Pain Clinic, which has offices in Humboldt, Belmont, and Iowa Falls. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Scott Forbes announced today in a press release that he will be leaving Webster County Emergency Management starting on October 26th. Forbes said he has accepted an offer to work in the private sector of safety. Forbes thanked the members of the Emergency Management Commission and said he will support the commission in searching for his replacement and to help the new coordinator transition into the programs and projects under the agency. Officials with the Iowa Department of Public Safety's Division of Criminal Investigation are issuing a warning about a new telephone scam. Radio Iowa's Rick Hansen reports.
The scam targets citizens when callers posing as employees of the Iowa State Police claim they have seized a vehicle with drugs inside and the vehicle is registered to the citizen they're calling. The calls seem to be originating from the 712 area code. If the citizen does not answer or hangs up on the initial call, a secondary call is being reported as coming from 911, with the callers becoming more verbally aggressive and claiming they're with the police and that they have a warrant for the citizen's arrest. So if you receive a similar phone call, contact your local law enforcement agency and the Iowa Attorney General's office hotline at 515-281-5926 or toll free at 888-777-4590. In Atlantic, I'm Rick Hansen for Radio Iowa News.
The University of Iowa has suspended 9 fraternities for violating a moratorium on alcohol at fraternity and sorority parties. The 9 fraternities were suspended Wednesday pending further investigation. University Vice President Melissa Shiver says the blatant and systemic failure to curb holding dangerous open events with alcohol, including tailgates, will stop. At a news conference Wednesday, Shivers didn't describe any specific events or incidents that led to the suspensions. The suspensions mean the chapters cannot participate in some organization-sponsored meetings, programs, social events, intramural sports, or homecoming events. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn up 6.5 at $3.69 March up 6.5 cents at $3.81 May corn up 6.5 at $3.88 July up 6.25 at $3.94 November soybeans up 6 cents at $8.58 January up 6.5 at $8.72 March up 6.25 at $8.85 May up 6.5 at $8.98 December wheat's down 2.5 at $5.08 Soybean meals up 80 cents a ton at $3.12.80 October live cattle up 55 at $112.62 December up 30 cents at $116.77 October feeder cattle up 82 cents at $156.72 November up 57 at $156.75 October lean hogs up 20 cents at $68.67 December down $152 at $54.42 From the Alpha Media Farm Desk, I'm Dwayne Merlin.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Is 3:36, and the weather is sunny today with a high of 44. Frost overnight, mostly cloudy with a low of 32. Tomorrow morning, rain and snow. First time I've said that this year. Rain and snow. First time I've said this since April, I guess. Rain and snow tomorrow. Patchy frost before 9 o'clock. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with a high of 47. Saturday, it'll be sunny with a high of 53. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 40. On Monday, it'll be sunny with a high of 43. Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high of 51. On Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 50. Right now in Fort Dodge, it's 41 degrees at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Yeah, overcast skies to say the very least. Man, I went from T-shirts to into my heavier winter coats already. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Vital Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Vital Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusvitalreceiversfuneralhome.com. Philip Joslin has died at the age of 80. I'm sorry to report, knew Phil years ago. Haven't seen him in recent years, but very sorry to hear that Philip Edwin Joslin has passed away in Urbandale at the age of 80. Services will be held at a later date, and I have no information on when that will be. Patricia Chalstrom has died at the age of 87. Services for Patricia I. Chalstrom will be this Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning at the First United Methodist Church. Edward Jacobson, also George Jacobson, has died at the age of 87. There will be a funeral service for Mr. Jacobson Saturday at 10:30 at the Washington Lutheran Church in Duncombe. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Vital Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Vital Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusvitalreceiversfuneralhome.com. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Is 3:38.
Pumpkins can provide more than festive decoration. Hello, I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. Pumpkins hold seeds inside that can be turned into a healthy snack. It turns out pumpkin seeds are packed with minerals, protein, and monounsaturated fat, the good-for-you kind of fat that's found in most nuts and seeds. University of Missouri nutrition and health education specialist Tammy Roberts says pumpkin seeds are a great way to get a lot of nutrients and health properties in one serving.
If you eat 1 ounce of roasted pumpkin seeds, and that actually is about 140 seeds, it only provides 148 calories, 9 grams of protein, and 1 gram of fiber.
Roberts says you can get about that amount from a single pumpkin. Salt tends to be the go-to seasoning for pumpkin seeds, but she says there are several ways to season them, if at all.
You can add other flavorings like things that you would put on popcorn, like garlic powder or a cheese powder. But the truth of the matter is the pumpkin seeds just by themselves taste great.
Preparing pumpkin seeds can be a fun activity, but you can purchase them in most grocery stores in the same section as sunflower seeds and nuts. Raw pumpkin seeds can be roasted, boiled, dehydrated, or even cooked in a microwave. As with other raw vegetables, make sure you properly wash the raw seeds and any surfaces they come in contact with. I'm Julie Harker.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You try.
Building relationships during recovery from mental and substance use disorders can put the strength of family and community behind you. We're all connected, offering encouragement, support, and hope. Join the Voices for Recovery. Strengthen families and communities.
For confidential information on mental and substance use disorders, including prevention and treatment referrals for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Tough as nails, nerves of steel. If you've come to test our metal, you better tighten up your chin strap. Get amped up for all the gridiron action on the Panther Sports Network.
University of Northern Iowa Sports are brought to you on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD by Mitch Lund State Farm, Party Productions, The Other Store, and New Age Media. Catch UNI Sports right here on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Active Health Chiropractic, leading our community to health.
Discover true wellness at Active Health Chiropractic. Hi, I'm Dr. Zach Mason. When you choose Active Health Chiropractic, you choose healing without drugs, life with mobility, and improved health with chiropractic. You'll love our new state-of-the-art facility, and you'll be amazed at how much better you feel. Call our office today and ask about the gift of health. Don't wait. Active Health Chiropractic, Fort Dodge.
And feel better today.
You drive slow. Hey, there's a parking spot.
Would you stop it? You are far more annoying than helpful.
Your blinker's still on.
If you're going to drive from the back seat, at least make sure you buckle up. You know, like you would if you were in the front, which you're not.
Hey, green means go.
Being in the back seat unbuckled is incredibly unsafe if we're in a crash. You could become a dangerous projectile inside the vehicle, injuring or possibly killing all of us.
It's the pedal on your right, Grandma.
Okay, that's enough. For the sake of sanity and safety, would you please shut and buckle up?
Brought to you by the Iowa Department of Public Safety, Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau.
Blue Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Who would have thought there'd be entire aisles devoted to bottled water and that people would buy more water than pop? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters here in Fort Dodge. Spring water, drinking water, mineral water. There's so many choices, and we're proud to offer you them all. From our own refreshingly pure drinking water to ultra pure Mountain Valley spring water, Blue Ribbon Pelham's is your complete water store.
When one door closes, another door opens. I said, another door opens. Another door opens!
Door issues? P&R Entry Doors will come to your business and replace your hollow metal entry door fast. And if your garage door is giving you fits, P&R Entry Doors will handle that too. Family owned and operated for 30 years. For a free estimate, call 573-8883. Online at pndrentrydoors.com.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
I am neither he nor she, Mr. nor Mrs., male nor female. And the only part of me that's transitioning are my heels from day to evening. I am simply I, and I cannot be labeled. I am gender fluid.
That's cool.
as long as none of it gets on us.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
Yeah, that's right. Not a lot of gender fluidity going on here in the studio today. Of course, I'm in here by myself. Mayor Matt Bemrick should be in here in a few minutes. If he wants to be gender fluid, I guess that's up to him. It wouldn't look good on him, I don't think. I just don't think it would look, gender fluidity on the mayor. Nah, I don't know. Who is the most gender fluid city council person, by the way? There's a fun contest. Who is the most gender fluid city council person? Now, we want to be tolerant and accepting and, all that stuff. So don't call me up and say anything really nasty. Scott Forbes has resigned as emergency management director for Webster County. Kind of a surprise announcement, I thought. Of course, I don't know Scott that well, but from all appearances and from everything I've heard, he's done a decent job as emergency management director for Webster County. And it kind of took everybody by surprise here today that he would be moving on. But certainly the best to him in whatever he does next. I guess he's got a decent job in the private sector, and I wish him all the best. Good afternoon. You're on the air at AM 1400 KVFD.
I got a question.
Whip it on me.
Have you spent your $700 yet?
Have I spent? Well, I haven't got it yet. Did you spend it?
I thought you would be putting up that money for that night with the Clintons.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I mean, you're so gullible buying all these political fantasy books. I figured that'd be right up your alley.
Political fantasy books? Which are those?
Oh, the ones that came out this last year.
The political fantasy books?
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of fantasy, I guess, anymore. Maybe I should. Maybe if I fantasized more, it would lighten me up a little bit. You suppose?
All right. Another question I got.
Yes, sir.
I've been watching some TV, and they've been having commercials for Ford Dodge to move here.
Yeah.
Who's doing that?
I'm not sure. I think it's Main Street Ford Dodge, but I'm not sure. I think that's
I was just curious.
Chris Patrick over at that Main Street Ford Dodge office. We got that going again here in this last year. I think that's their project. Did you move to Fort Dodge as a result of seeing that commercial?
No.
So are you going to go to one of those Clinton things? Those people.
No.
Okay. Those people just will not go away. Well, they just won't leave us alone. Won't go away. Insist on being in front of the camera.
They must be hurting for money because they're asking $700 a pop.
No. They're doing the same thing they've always done. They're trying to go around the country and round up all the money that's available for Democrats, then hold the party hostage and run Hillary again. I mean,
that worked.
She did so well in 2008 and 2016. She wants to run again. I mean, she thinks she was hosed. Haven't you heard her? My God, the moaning and groaning and complaining out of her is just ungodly. She's been all over the world. Oh, it's a misogynist. Oh, yeah, 53% of women voted for Trump, and that's a result of them being sheep and following along with their husbands, and they're just doing what their husbands told them. They're not large like I am. They're not totally separated from their husband like I am. And I assume she really was totally separated from her husband, since Bill had his nose up every skirt in town, for God's sake. And she just seemed to be okay with it.
Well, those mobs that are like in the committee and restaurants and what have you.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that maybe it's that's what the Nazis used to do back in the 30s.
Oh, it's a short step away from the type of intimidation we're seeing with these leftist thugs, and that's exactly what they are. The Democratic Party has devolved into kind of a group of screaming leftist thugs, and some of them are dangerous.
Well, that's what the Nazis used to do to get power back in the 30s. Though.
Oh, without a doubt. And they want to intimidate the Republicans, first of all. Did you see that spectacle during the Kavanaugh hearings? They were just roaring and yelling at people, and there was that weak little puppy Senator Jeff Flake from Arizona. My God, my granddaughter could beat him up. I want to do the right thing. He's running for president in 2020. Did you know that? He wants to run for president. That's why he made this big grandstand move. Oh gosh, I think we need to investigate a little more. I was yelled at in an elevator, so now I've changed my mind. Turned out he was yelled at in an elevator by a woman who was part of an activist group who made 6 figures a year running around yelling at Republicans, among other things.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very twisted time that we are living in. No, it wouldn't.
It was scary.
Yeah, it would not. I think we should round up our own groups of old white men, and we'll have a lot of beer, and we'll go around and make fun of them as they.
All right.
Hey, thanks a
Well,
lot
I'll
for
let you
calling.
go.
Thank you for calling. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I must have wore him out. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, if you have a question or comment, like to join the conversation, it's 515-955-1400, 515-955-1400. President Trump apparently has a short list to replace Jeff Sessions as Attorney General of the United States. President Trump, according to the Wall Street Journal, is considering as many as 5 candidates to be his new Attorney General on the assumption that Jeff Sessions will leave his post later this year. Now, I don't know why, and this is another thing that bothers me about Donald Trump, frankly. I mean, he brings Reince Priebus to the White House. He brings Steve Bannon. I mean, they leave their positions where they built, and they built up their positions for a long time. And Trump brings them to the White House, and they do something he doesn't like, and he gets rid of him. I mean, how long was Reince Priebus in the White House? I mean, Priebus is a pretty smart political operative. He was one of the people instrumental in what the Democrats call the fall of Wisconsin. There's a book out called The Fall of Wisconsin. I bought it. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But it's about how a liberal state like Wisconsin, and Wisconsin for many, many years, it was a very liberal state. It took care of its people. That's the type of government they had. It was the home of Robert La Follette. Robert La Follette was instrumental in the early 20th century in establishing the entire liberal movement. And Reince Priebus brought Wisconsin down. Brought the liberal order in Wisconsin down. He crushed the public employee unions. They very nearly lost all their influence in Wisconsin, and they used to be very, very powerful. Terry Branstad consulted with Reince Priebus when they went after the public service unions here in Iowa. And of course, there got to be too big a gap between the pay and benefit package available in the public sector and the pay and benefit package available in the private sector. Now, Mike Owen of the Iowa Policy Project always wants to argue with me about that. And he's true that there is equity in the professional positions available in the private sector and the public sector. But when you get right down to snowplow drivers and truck drivers and things like that, there's a big difference between what public sector workers make and what private sector workers make for doing the same work. And there's a lot of jobs like that in the public and private sector. I mean, you could have a secretary at the courthouse right now. The supervisors talk about it all the time. I mean, what a secretary gets $14 an hour for, they might have a $19 an hour package available in the public sector. And of course, that's why we see some Democrats running for those sorts of offices so that they can ensure, well, they're going to buy votes with your money is what they're going to do, always. But anyway, I'm getting to get back to President Trump. And he's always been mad at Jeff Sessions for allowing the Mueller probe, for recusing himself from the Mueller probe. And now I guess he's moving quickly to replace Jeff Sessions. Some of the people he's thinking about are Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar, Transportation Department General Counsel Stephen Bradbury, former Attorney General Bill Barr, Deputy Secretary of State John Sullivan, and Janice Rogers Brown, a retired appeals court judge from the District of Columbia. You know, Donald Trump, first of all, Robert Mueller serves at the discretion and at the pleasure of Donald Trump, President of the United States. Donald Trump could stop the investigation right now today and force Mueller to reveal everything, all the evidence that he has gathered. Now, is that a group there under Robert Mueller that is planning a coup or laying the groundwork for impeachment? I certainly believe so. But Trump, again, old dumb Donald, you know, Trump is such a moron. He's so uncouth. He's again allowing Mueller to go on for some reason because he doesn't believe Mueller's going to find anything of consequence. I mean, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, the big liberal papers, will report breathlessly every now and then that, oh my God, there's been another arrest. Robert Mueller has made an arrest and there's been a plea bargain. And they really want the big kahuna to spill his beans. And the big kahuna so far is Manafort or Michael Cohen, either one. Michael Cohen, either one. But, you know, I think in the end, it's going to be nothing. If it wasn't, Trump would have said to hell with it already and fired Mueller like he fired James Comey. And consequences be damned. The Republicans would stand with him. The Republicans would have stood with him. And again, ladies and gentlemen, when the Democrats take the House of Representatives, they'll begin impeachment proceedings immediately, just as a form of harassment. They won't get it done. And Trump, if he puts together some better trade deals and the economy's humming in 2020, bring Hillary Clinton on again. Bring her out, Democrats. Open the door once again to Hillary Clinton and start barking about misogyny and God, oh, it's so terrible. No, we recognized in Hillary Clinton an authoritarian tendency that was palpable and a desire to punish somebody for every hurt she ever had, probably men. A desire to punish everybody who ever slighted her. She is going to show everybody she's never going to give up. She's dedicated her life and devoted her entire life to running for president to achieve those ends. Not to do wonderful work on the behalf of children. Not to put together a better health care plan. Not to better take care of people, as she said famously once. Well, we shouldn't be talking about all these things. We should be talking about how to better take care of people. Really? Oh, thanks. She's not, and the Democratic Party isn't going to do anything like that. There's been a crazy vindictiveness that has seized that party that is out of control. And the embodiment of that sort of vindictiveness is Matt Bemrick, and he's here. So, Matt, how you doing?
I don't know. How am I doing? I walked into it.
You walked right into
I
that.
don't know exactly what you were talking about.
I was kidding. Bemrick is not the embodiment of that, no.
Embodiment of what?
Vindictive Democrats.
Oh.
Want to get us. They're going to get us, Matt.
Is that what you're on today?
I am.
Democrats are ruining the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, I'm actually a Democrat. These people are liberals. I've told you that before.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
You're a Democrat. They're liberals?
Yes.
I don't necessarily know that you know exactly what you are. You, I think, are the party of Mike Devine, kind of.
Not a bad party. I've been talking.
It's a party of one.
So far. I've been talking about a third party for years. You know.
Yeah. A lot of people have talked about third parties. They never seem to gain enough ground to really. You had the Tea Party there for a little bit, and
the Democrats sue.
Democrats had what was the one they were kind of going with for a while? There was like some extreme Democrats,
socialist type people. You mean?
Yeah, no, it was like was it the 99 percenters or something? I don't remember.
Oh, the Occupy Wall Street
kind of group.
Yeah, they were crazy.
They kind of banded together politically and were pushing the agenda a little bit for, well, quite a bit further left.
Our whole country has roving bands of crazy people carrying big clubs. Kind of a good time to be alive.
Well, I would say both parties on their base value and their general member base are pretty, they're people that pay attention and understand multiple perspectives. It's the extremes that tend to get all the attention.
Portland, Oregon's a beautiful city. I've been out there.
Yeah.
It's really a great city. Mm-hmm. But man, they have their share of crazies out there in the great Northwest. There's always some kind of nuttiness going on in Portland, Oregon.
It's probably the temperature. It's cold there, wet.
Well, it is wet and rainy, but we get a lot more snow than they do, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a nice town.
It's never like warm there, really, is it?
No, not really. Yeah. But if you go up there in the hills and mountains in Washington and Oregon, there's a lot of folks that live out there, and they live their lives out, in relative isolation. But they've started to come into town.
And what party do they belong to?
I think they're the party of we want to fight about something. Not the party of Mike Devine. I'd keep them in control if they were. 4 o'clock, Mayor Matt Bemrick's in the studio. If you have a question or comment for Mayor Matt Bemrick, 515-955-1400. The news is next. KVFD Fort Dodge.
If you're a gearhead or not, you'll enjoy the Under the Hood Car Show every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
A major sell-off again on Wall Street. I'm Lisa Brady. The Dow drops another 545 points for a 2-day total of over 1,300 points, a more than 5% slide, fueled mainly by concern of interest rates. The president paying attention to that. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The president is blaming the Federal Reserve for the stock market downturn, saying recent hikes in the Fed's benchmark short-term interest rate have disappointed him.
I think the Fed is far too stringent, and they're making a mistake, and it's not right. And it's despite that, we're doing very well, but it's not necessary, in my opinion. And I think I know about it better than they do.
When asked about Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, the president said he would not fire him, even though the chairman can only be removed for cause. Lisa?
Thanks, John. Long-term mortgage rates hitting their highest level in 7 years. Freddie Mac's average for a 30-year fixed 4.9%. There's no estimate yet on just how many homes were lost to Hurricane Michael. Whole neighborhoods are leveled in the Florida Panhandle.
There are hundreds of streets in this one county alone that are blocked by downed trees and down power lines. And this is a major reason why the authorities are imploring people. If you evacuated, stay evacuated. Do not try to come back in to Panama City because it just isn't safe to do so. There are too many hazards out here.
Fox's Rick Leventhal in Panama City. President Trump offering prayers and assistance until recovery is complete.
The only thing we can say about Michael with certainty is that it was so fast. It went through like a bullet, but it was a devastating bullet.
There have been conflicting reports on casualties, at least 2 deaths confirmed, one in Georgia, one in Florida. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield, another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Saudi journalist, last seen when he entered the Saudi consulate in Turkey more than a week ago, remains missing, as Saudi Arabia denies Turkey's claims that it sent a hit squad to kill him. Some in Congress say the U.S. should punish the Saudis, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham calling it a defining moment for the U.S.
Behavior like this is unacceptable. violates every international norm. It can't be condoned. And the way we deal with Saudi Arabia will be a message to others.
President Trump says if the reports are true, the Saudis should pay a price, but he doesn't want them buying military equipment from Russia and China instead of the U.S.
We don't like it, and we don't like it even a little bit. But as to whether or not we should stop $110 billion from being spent in this country, knowing they have 4 or 5 alternatives, 2 very good alternatives, that would not be acceptable to me.
Several high-level U.S. officials have spoken with the Saudi Crown Prince this week, pressing for information. For now, an investigation continues. Separately, reports of a secret deal between the U.S. and Turkey to return American pastor Andrew Brunson to the U.S. He's been detained in Turkey for months on terrorism charges he denies. A Facebook engineer who criticized the company as intolerant of conservative views is leaving.
In an internal Facebook memo obtained by Business Insider, Brian Amerige writes, "I care too deeply about our role in supporting free expression and intellectual diversity to even wholeheartedly attempt the product stuff anymore. And that's how I know it's time to go." Amerige sparked controversy earlier this year, claiming some staffers are quick to attack, often in mobs, anyone who presents a view that appears to be in opposition to left-leaning ideology.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin, a spokesman for Facebook, confirming the departure and wishing him well. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. A natural gas leak forced evacuations and the closure of businesses in Clarion on Wednesday afternoon. Wright County Emergency Management Director Jim Lesser reported a crew was burying fiber optic cable in the 100 block of 2nd Street Northwest when the gas line was struck. The accident caused the evacuation and sheltering in place of nearby residents. All downtown businesses were forced to close because of the accident. Detours were set up throughout Clarion, including the rerouting of traffic on Highway 3. Crews from Mid-American Energy were on the scene to make repair to the line. The repairs to the gas line were completed early this morning. All roadways were reopened to traffic at 2 a.m. The death of a well-known medical professional in Webster City is under investigation. Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies were sent to a home in Webster City Tuesday morning for a welfare check. The body of 59-year-old Gregory Pacala was found inside. He lived in the home. An autopsy is being performed. While investigators aren't saying how Pacala may have died, they are asking anyone with information on activity in the home to call the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. In addition, there's a $500 reward for tips that lead to an arrest. Pacala was a certified registered nurse anesthetist and treated patients at Advanced Pain Clinic, which has offices in Humboldt, Belmont, and Iowa Falls. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Scott Forbes announced today in a press release that he will be leaving Webster County Emergency Management starting on October 26th. Forbes said he has accepted an offer to work in the private sector of safety. Forbes thanked the members of the Emergency Management Commission and said he will support the commission in searching for his replacement and to help the new coordinator transition into the programs and projects under the agency. Officials with the Iowa Department of Public Safety's Division of Criminal Investigation are issuing a warning about a new telephone scam. Radio Iowa's Rick Hansen reports.
The scam targets citizens when callers posing as employees of the Iowa State Police claim they have seized a vehicle with drugs inside, and the vehicle is registered to the citizen they're calling. The calls seem to be originating from the 712 area code. If the citizen does not answer or hangs up on the initial call, a secondary call is being reported as coming from 911, with the callers becoming more verbally aggressive and claiming they're with the police and that they have a warrant for the citizen's arrest. So if you receive a similar phone call, contact your local law enforcement agency and the Iowa Attorney General's office hotline at 515-281-5926 or toll free at 888-777-4590. In Atlantic, I'm Rick Hansen for Radio Iowa News.
The University of Iowa has suspended 9 fraternities for violating a moratorium on alcohol at fraternity and sorority parties. The 9 fraternities were suspended Wednesday pending further investigation. University Vice President Melissa Shiver says the blatant and systemic failure to curb holding dangerous open events with alcohol, including tailgates, will stop. At a news conference Wednesday, Shivers didn't describe any specific events or incidents that led to the suspensions. The suspensions mean the chapters cannot participate in some organization-sponsored meetings, programs, social events, intramural sports, or homecoming events. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 44 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight, lows around 32. High temperatures reach up to 45 tomorrow. Temperatures well below average Saturday and Sunday with highs from the upper 30s to the mid 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 42.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
Have the talk of the lifetime with the ones you love and make the difference of a lifetime.
Grandma, this card asks, what's your favorite family tradition?
Christmas would be my favorite. You know how we use the special tablecloth and all the fancy dishes?
And those cookies you always make.
Should we whip up a batch and bake some together now?
Sharing stories and memories with those who matter most isn't just important today. It will be especially significant when it's time to honor a life lived. Contact Gunderson Funeral Home to learn more about having the talk of a lifetime.
I'm Amy Arrett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. It's very meaningful to me when I hear customers talk about how Madison Reed at-home hair color has changed their lives. Here's Vicky, one of our very first customers.
Coloring my own hair is easier than I ever imagined. The best part, I no longer have to sit in a salon and pay over $100 to have this done. Now I color it when it's convenient for me, and it takes less than an hour. People compliment me on how great my color is, and my hair is incredibly soft and healthy looking.
Experience beautiful, multi-dimensional, ammonia-free, salon-quality color for under $25. Join the hundreds of thousands of women who have tried and loved Madison Reed. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code TRUST. That's code TRUST. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
Hi, I'm Michael Devine with Divine Intervention at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. From 2 to 5, Monday through Friday, I'll be on the air talking local issues, local politics, local concerns. The only way this works, once again, is to have you join the conversation by calling 515-955-1400. Afternoons, 2 to 5, Divine Intervention. Please join the conversation. And I want to thank Alpha Media for allowing this program on the air in a town the size of Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
I am neither he nor she, Mr. nor Mrs., male nor female. And the only part of me that's transitioning are my heels.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 with Mayor Matt Bemrick.
Boss, man, top dog, big cheese, the head honcho.
Call now. 515-955-1400.
That's right. Matt Bemrick is here, Mayor of Fort Dodge. So if you do have a question or comment for the mayor, 515-955-1400. I guarantee you'll get better information here than the coffee shops around town and gossip. Not that I don't like to sit in coffee shops around town and gossip, because I do. But
at least you're honest.
That's right. So, but, usually if you call here and actually ask the mayor a question, because that's what he's here for. He and I can go chat anywhere. But if you actually ask the mayor a question now by calling 955-1400, you'll probably be able to go to the coffee shop tomorrow and say, well, I was talking to the mayor yesterday, and this is what he told me. So there we go. So you're not gender fluid today, are you?
What?
No, never mind.
Good Lord.
I'm just kind of having a good time in here today. That's just, this is a good job for me. I could do twice as much if I went out and drove a truck. But have you ever driven a truck? I mean, you bounce around in there. It's kind of work. It's work.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Yeah. How's your job going? Are you doing anything there or not?
Yeah, we're busy. Very busy. Lots going on.
I wanted to talk to you about this intermodal thing. I talked with Dennis Ploutz a little bit.
Yeah.
Are we ready for this? Really? I mean, but the question is based on that we really need to do something with the Warden Plaza.
Well, the whole Warden project started based on the idea of what are we going to do with that building?
Yeah.
do you tear it down? I mean, I've heard estimated numbers of tearing it down costing $8 million, $15 million, and everything in between.
And then what do you got once you tore it
and
down?
then what do you got when it's gone? Their opportunity to, well, we got a caller.
This is AM 1400 KVFT. Good afternoon. You're on the air with the mayor.
Hi, good afternoon. Hey,
Hi.
You may have already talked about this at length, but I'm not always listening when you may have talked about it. So what's going on with the Crossroads Mall? It's sad to see malls dying everywhere, but do we have any anchor stores interested, or is there any projects in the future for the mall? I mean, it seems to be practically dying. I guess
Sure.
I can just listen.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to talk about them all. So in the last couple of weeks, I've done a couple of different conference calls with the real estate folks that are representing the former Sears property, which is different than the mall itself. They actually have some interested parties in doing things with that parcel, but the hurdle there is tearing down that old Sears building. But we think we've got some ideas on how we can help do some of those kind of things, do some abatement of some of the stuff there, whether it be asbestos or any kind of soil removals, different things like that through some grants, as well as the city could work with a developer to use tax increment financing, commonly just said it would be like TIF, to help offset the cost to demo that out, get it out of there, and then create redevelopment opportunity. Now with the mall itself, we have talked to the mall folks. They do have interest in trying to do some things with the parcels on the corners. So that'd be like the corner of 1st and 25th and the course 1st and 29th. If they were able to do that, that would generate some additional tax dollars as well that we can maybe then use to do some things with the mall itself. There are still retailers out there that are interested in our market. They were ready to go and kind of waiting for that development we were previously working on with the old Sears property, and then that didn't happen and they kind of went away. Some of them are still saying we still want to be in Fort Dodge, we want a location, they just got to find the right one and find somebody willing to build for them.
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering. I know a lot of us here that are in our 40s or 50s remember malls being destination locations.
Yeah.
They're kind of going away, which is sad. You know, it's nice to see it again.
And we've talked about doing things like creating that live, work, play environment where you could have part of the mall or part of the mall comes down. You see some apartments go in with retail below. Service-based industries could go in some of those locations, as well as retail, restaurants, and others. So there's opportunity there. We still have a very good, strong retail pull factor here. People still drive from quite a distance to come here to do most of their shopping on the day-to-day type items. But as we lose those box retailers like your Yonkers and Pennies and Sears, people will be less likely to come here. They might travel somewhere else or travel further to get to where they have a bigger variety. So we got to fill the void. It's just we got to find property owners that are willing to do that and willing to make those investments. And the city's, sitting here ready and willing to work with anybody that wants to do something involving retail and creating additional revenues in retail dollars in our market.
Well, it's good to hear that you're at least being proactive. Appreciate that.
We're trying. We're definitely trying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
You bet.
Sears was once the largest retailer in the world. Largest retailer in the world. There's still a huge Sears building in Chicago. It's not owned by Sears anymore.
I don't think it's even called the Sears building.
I
anymore.
don't think it is, but that was they owned a radio station and started a radio station in the 1920s called WLS. And WLS over the years changed to one of those regional rock stations that I used to listen to as a kid. WLS, the enormous 89 and all. It was just really cool. And WLS stood for World's Largest Store. That was there's a little radio trivia for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
It's WLS is a talk station now. Most of the AM stations, of course, moved to talk away from music here.
So now we all have that piece of information for next time we sit down to play some radio trivia. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if that'll really come up unless you're a Chicago.
WLS, World's Largest Store.
World's
That's
Largest
interesting.
Store.
So that was the the actual station based in a Sears store or something?
believe
and
it was.
started there and then kind of
Mhm.
branched from that.
Yeah, it was owned by Sears
Interesting.
and went through a number. ABC bought it in the 1970s, I think, and I don't know. The world has changed so much in the last 35 years that it's hard to keep up with, really.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Changes quickly.
It really does. I mean, there's no such thing as ABC radio anymore.
Yeah.
Or NBC radio.
Well, and a lot of, radio has been kind of consolidated into these media groups.
Big media companies. I mean, Alpha Media, the company that owns this station, has
Mhm.
248 stations around
Wow.
the country. You know,
I knew they were big. I didn't know how many though.
and we used to have, it wasn't that long ago that KWMT and KKZ was in private hands here in town. Jim Maurer owned it. And Ben Court, Jim Maurer and Ben Court out of Cedar Rapids. And then, of course, Max Landis and the Breen family owned KVFD. And
Yep.
And KSMX was started by the Smith family that owned, of course, SMX Trucking.
Yeah.
It was originally going to be I think it originally was a religious station that the Smith family started, but that's all. And that wasn't that long ago, maybe 25 years.
Yeah.
And man, though,
I remember being a kid listening to Big Red.
Big Red
in the morning.
Yeah, do you know what his real name was?
No.
Carl Lemon Jr.
Huh.
Did you ever meet him?
I don't think so.
He was big. He was about
He'd like to beat up on a couple of different mayors back in the day. He was always calling them out for this thing or that thing.
No. Oh, yeah. Well, mayors are an easy target.
Yeah, we generally are.
But I never beat up on you. I just beat up on everybody else.
You try. You don't succeed, but you try sometimes.
I don't succeed because of your huge brain. You come in here and just disarm me
I don't
right away.
necessarily know that
with
I have
your
a huge brain.
Intellectual powerhouse that you are.
I think it's more about I have some answers. I'm not afraid to talk about things either. So
No, you're
that's
not.
always helpful.
No, you're not. That's for sure. Anyway, 515-955-1400. Do you have a question or comment for Mayor Matt Bremrick? 515.
Absolutely. So we were back to the warden. So the warden,
Yeah, warden.
We wanted to do something with it. What options were out there? So we started digging around, looking for folks that have redeveloped parcels or projects of that size, that magnitude. And we talked to multiple different developers over time, and we ended up with KDG. That's the developer we're currently working with. And they started the process of applying for historic tax credits, and we started applying for different grants that we could do to do phase ones and different things as it relates to asbestos, lead paint abatement, all those different things. So we've started some of those kind of processes. Now where we're at with the warden is we're trying to get through this first big step of separating the warden itself from what it was called the annex, which is the building further to the east. That as you drive by, you see the kind of white brick, and then it switches to the red brick. They were built separately, but then there was at one time in time, they connected those buildings with some different doorways and hallways and different things like that. But that building would come down, and that's where the intermodal facility would start, and then it would branch over the top of 10th.
Yeah.
And connect to what will be hopefully the new modern rec facility that we would build. So the intermodal hub creates parking opportunities for the warden, the rec, downtown businesses like the Heartland that's in the Carver building, other smaller businesses and bigger businesses. You got banks and lawyers and accounting offices and all this. So it creates that. It creates an opportunity for people to park and walk around the downtown. It would even have electric charging stations for electric cars that you're starting to see become more and more popular. It would have bike systems. So this is one of those things where if you've been in a big city recently, you see these racks of bikes that all look exactly the same. You walk up, you can rent them, jump on them, go ride them to different places, put them back, or drop them off at another docking station. We'd also be working with Midas, who operates DART, our bus service, to do better connecting opportunities for employers that may have a workforce that needs alternate means of transportation than just normal cars, or want to save money by using a bus system instead of driving to different locations all the time, and they can pool their folks together to get in a bus and come to work every day. That could be out to the Iowa's Crossroads. That could be up to Prestige Farms. It could be to the labs. It could be, any employer really that wanted to try to utilize that alternate transportation opportunity. And with all those pieces combined, the rec, the intermodal hub, and the Warden, we think it puts a lot of investment and energy back in our downtown. It creates people in the downtown, destinations in the downtown. And we just talked about the mall, people and traffic, whether it be on a bike, on foot, or in a car or a bus, creates opportunity for investment because people are the ones that have to consume and use services, products, food, you name it. And the more people you put in an area, the more opportunity there is for business to capitalize on.
Well, that's a pretty optimistic plan there, Matt. I mean, how long do you think?
Give me the pessimistic one then. Aren't all plans supposed to be?
Well, I don't see the population base yet. I don't see the Warden Plaza in the condition that you're talking about. And frankly, from what I've heard, we're not close to finalizing any sort of plan for the Warden Plaza. I mean,
I don't know where you're getting that information from.
Excuse me, we're not close to getting the money we need for the plan.
We got to go through the process. And we got to get the building split, get through the first phase of the historic tax credits. The state historic group that we're working with is a huge fan of this project. They want to see this project happen. I don't think those credits, once those would be awarded, I think are a major portion of the capital.
But it's going to take a
stacks.
huge investment of private money.
In the Warden, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have that commitment?
Well, we don't have that commitment, but the developer is the one that is working to fulfill the financial stacking that it'll take in order to capitalize and redevelop the Warden. And there's local dollars in there as it relates to
I was going to say
tax increment financing.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you where I can get my information from. It's from people who've been working on the project for a long time, and they go back and forth between cautiously optimistic to downright pessimistic. They would like to see the Warden Plaza taken care of and renovated as along the lines you talk about, but we're not there yet as far as the money goes. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. You're on the air with the mayor.
Yes, I'd like to know if taxpayer money is going to be involved in this in the rec center.
Yeah, there'd be different portions of it that could end up being taxpayer money. Yeah.
Are we going to be able to vote on that? Will there be a bond issue or something?
If it was purely tax revenue generated bond, so a bond that's purely being paid by tax dollars, yeah, you would have to vote on that.
Are these going to be by tax dollars or not?
What do you mean, sir?
Is any of this
so if we
gonna
borrowed
cost taxpayers of Fort Dodge money out of their taxes?
if we were to take out a bond to pay for the bond with your tax dollars, you would have to vote on that. Yes. If it was paid by your taxes. Now, if it's paid through other means of revenue, meaning like if there's rents or leases or anything like that, those are revenue bonds. So those wouldn't be paid with your tax dollars. Those are not subject to referendum.
Now, is this going to end up being like the swimming pool out there where they didn't make enough revenue to pay the bonds like they said it was going to pay?
We never once said that the pool was going to make enough money to pay the bonds, because you voted on the bonds. You may have voted against them, but the taxpayers voted and approved that bond, and then your tax dollars paid the bond. The revenue from the pool was never ever said that it would pay the bond. We wouldn't have even went to the voters if we believed that to be the case. Because if the revenue can pay the bond, you don't have to get the taxpayers' permission if the revenue source can pay the bond.
So all of this stuff going in downtown, the rec center, all this is not going to be voted on by the voters.
I did not say that. You're saying that.
He's asking a question.
Oh, well, it would be if they decide that they have to fulfill part of the capital cost on the rec center with tax dollars or a bond that would be supported by tax dollars, that would have to be voted. So yes, you would vote on that.
Okay.
Yeah. But if they find grant dollars, philanthropy, all the different things, that number you may not have to. That would be the perfect case. But if they're at the end of the day, if you got a $20 million rec center and they raise, 30-40% of that, and then they get a grant for 30 or 40%, and there's $6 million left, then yes, you would have to vote on that.
All right, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. Yep. Anytime you have a bond, it has to either be paid by revenue that'll be generated, or it has to be paid for by taxes that will pay that bond back. If it's not an essential corporate purpose, an essential corporate purpose is like a road. If it's something like a rec center or a fire station or a new jail or a pool, you as taxpayers and myself as a taxpayer, we get the right to challenge that and then put it on a ballot to vote. If it's being paid for, like when we're doing water and sewer bonds, so those water bonds are paid for by the ratepayers and paying for water. Since those are revenue bonds, they're paid by a revenue source. Those are not challengeable. So you got different kinds of bonding that takes place in government.
Are you still there?
Does that make more sense?
When the water bonds are put up, that the industrial park out there was going to be paying most of that, and it turned around, our rates all went up.
Your rates and water went up, but not relative to they pay for every bit of the infrastructure and usage that is serving Cargill and CJ and Valero. They pay for that. You're not subsidizing their water costs in your water rates. Your water rates went up because we've done improvements to the water treatment facility. We've added wells. We've upgraded distribution systems. If you recall, even before I was mayor, they were replacing water towers and all kinds of things.
I understand that, but it just amazes me that the taxes or the price on the water went up right after they got involved in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can paint a conspiracy there, sure, but there isn't one. I mean, there's proven documentation of schedule of values of how much that capital cost was to run water and do all the upgrades and what their rates are. And they have a segmented portion of their rate that services nothing but the debt for that infrastructure. And then they pay their water rate like you or I would, but they even pay additionally to service just the debt of that capital investment.
So when my water rates go up 5-6% or 10% in a couple of years, did their water rate go up 10% then?
Their water rates go up with when we do like across the board water rate increases, they do see those, yes, but their rates are also set by a contract. So they're buying huge quantities of water, so they may pay a lower rate on the first 1 million gallons and a much higher rate on the above gallons. You get what I'm saying? Because they're using such quantities.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a deal.
I don't. I would say that they're paying well into their fair share. Well into it. I mean, you're using a few thousand gallons and you're paying 50 some. I mean, some of these guys' water bills are $500,000 a month.
Who's paying that
water,
Yeah, they're using a lot of water. Absolutely. What's that?
That's one of the reasons we had to dig more wells.
No, that is not why we dug more wells. We dug wells to replace existing wells. Any well that we would dig that was primarily and only for a Cargill, a CJ, a Valero, whoever, they would pay that in that capital cost that they pay on top of their normal water rate. Yeah, that's so we negotiate all those things with them, and all those contracts are public documents. If you're very, very curious about how they work or how they have to pay or what they got to pay in addition to their normal water usage rates, you can always go down to the clerk's office and request copies of those.
Contacting the city is like almost as bad as pulling teeth. It's just like contacting the county. They're not even in the phone book anymore.
You can't get a hold of. Have you tried to contact the city and were unable to get a hold of them?
You get the runaround. Most of the time, I get an answering machine, and nobody's ever there. Nobody's ever there to talk. Try to get a hold of the mayor. If you're not the mayor, try to get a hold of the mayor. You ain't gonna get a hold of him. You can't even.
I find that absolutely. I completely disagree with you. I get messages down there all the time, and I call people back almost immediately. Wait, have you ever called and left me a message?
I've called down to your secretary, and they just space you off.
Well, if you call down there and leave your name and phone number and say you'd like to speak to me, you're going to get me.
I don't know what he's doing.
I'll tell you, if you call down there and you leave your name and your phone number and you say you want to speak to me, if you wanted to get together and talk about this, or I could get the documents for you and help walk you through how those contracts work. I've never told anybody no to do that kind of stuff.
Just do what I do. I text him. And that's it. All right. Hey, thank you for your call. It was informative. Yep. Thank you very much. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 434.
Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Do you have questions about your water? What is a whole home filter? Is my softener working or not? Can I get rid of that red stain around the sink? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. We're here to fix problem water. We'll work with you to find the right solution for you. We've been serving the Fort Dodge area since 1949. Let us serve your water treatment needs. Sales, service, rentals. Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters, your complete water store.
Ride the bus with the Dart and Midas trends.
Need to get somewhere in Hamilton, Pocahontas, Calhoun, or Humboldt County? Midas will take you there. Live in Manson and need a ride to the grocery store? Midas will take you there. Live in Webster City and need a ride to the theater? Midas will take you there. Live in Rockwell City and need to get to the clinic? Midas will take you there. Call 800 Bus Ride. Midas, helping you get where you want to go. Your connection to Jefferson Lines.
Our job here is getting you there. Ride the bus.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. A natural gas leak forced evacuations and the closure of businesses in Clarion on Wednesday afternoon. Wright County Emergency Management Director Jim Lesser reported a crew was burying fiber optic cable in the 100 block of 2nd Street Northwest when the gas line was struck. The accident caused the evacuation and sheltering in place of nearby residents. All downtown businesses were forced to close because of the accident. Detours were set up throughout Clarion, including the rerouting of traffic on Highway 3. Crews from Mid-American Energy were on the scene to make repair to the line. The repairs to the gas line were completed early this morning. All roadways were reopened to traffic at 2 a.m. The death of a well-known medical professional in Webster City is under investigation. Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies were sent to a home in Webster City Tuesday morning for a welfare check. The body of 59-year-old Gregory Pacala was found inside. He lived in the home. An autopsy is being performed. While investigators aren't saying how Pacala may have died, they are asking anyone with information on activity in the home to call the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. In addition, there's a $500 reward for tips that lead to an arrest. Pacala was a certified registered nurse anesthetist and treated patients at Advanced Pain Clinic, which has offices in Humboldt, Belmont, and Iowa Falls. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Scott Forbes announced today in a press release that he will be leaving Webster County Emergency Management starting on October 26th. Forbes said he has accepted an offer to work in the private sector of safety. Forbes thanked the members of the Emergency Management Commission and said he will support the commission in searching for his replacement and to help the new coordinator transition into the programs and projects under the agency. Officials with the Iowa Department of Public Safety's Division of Criminal Investigation are issuing a warning about a new telephone scam. Radio Iowa's Rick Hansen reports.
The scam targets citizens when callers posing as employees of the Iowa State Police claim they have seized a vehicle with drugs inside, and the vehicle is registered to the citizen they're calling. The calls seem to be originating from the 712 area code. If the citizen does not answer or hangs up on the initial call, a secondary call is being reported as coming from 911, with the callers becoming more verbally aggressive and claiming they're with the police and that they have a warrant for the citizen's arrest. So if you receive a similar phone call, contact your local law enforcement agency and the Iowa Attorney General's office hotline at 515-281-5926 or toll free at 888-777-4590. In Atlantic, I'm Rick Hansen for Radio Iowa News.
The University of Iowa has suspended 9 fraternities for violating a moratorium on alcohol at fraternity and sorority parties. The 9 fraternities were suspended Wednesday pending further investigation. University Vice President Melissa Shiver says the blatant and systemic failure to curb holding dangerous open events with alcohol, including tailgates, will stop. At a news conference Wednesday, Shivers didn't describe any specific events or incidents that led to the suspensions. The suspensions mean the chapters cannot participate in some organization-sponsored meetings, programs, social events, intramural sports, or homecoming events. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 44 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight, lows around 32. High temperatures reach up to 45 tomorrow. Temperatures well below average Saturday and Sunday with highs from the upper 30s to the mid 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 42.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn up 6.5 at $3.6925. March up 6.5 cents at $3.8125. May corn up 6.5 at $3.8825. July up 6.25 at $3.94. November soybeans up 6 cents at $8.5825. January up 6.5 at $8.7225. March up 6.25 at $8.85. May up 6.5 at $8.9825. December wheat's down 2.5 at $5.08. Soybean meals up 80 cents a ton at $3.1280. October live cattle up 55 at $112.62. December up 30 cents at $116.77. October feeder cattle up 82 cents at $156.72. November up 57 at $156.75. October lean hogs up 20 cents at $68.67. December down $152 at $54.42. From the Alpha Media Farm Desk, I'm Dwayne Murley.
From the Fox Business Network on Wall Street, another volatile session with the major averages suffering a second day of huge losses, bringing the Dow's two-day total of losses close to 1,400 points. The market has been rattled by rising interest rates, signs of a slowdown in the global economy, and increasing trade tensions, with the Dow closing down 546 points, the Nasdaq down 93, S&P 500 down 57. And President Trump escalating his attack on the Federal Reserve's interest rate increases, saying that the Fed is out of control and blames the central bank for this week's plunge in stock prices. And Tencent Music Entertainment will postpone its highly anticipated initial public offering because of the recent sell-off in global markets, according to the Wall Street Journal. The music streaming company hitting the pause button on what would have been one of the largest IPOs in the U.S. this year. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Hillary Barsky.
What gives one company the edge over another? Maybe it's not one thing. Maybe it's taking care of lots of things that help a business run smoothly. In other words, Cintas. Cintas has products that help your people stay safe and apparel programs that convey the right image. They service fire protection equipment, deliver and stock restroom supplies, and make sure facilities are clean and ready. Because when all those things work together, you're in business.
Oh, I'm ready!
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
Loffersweiler Funeral Home is pleased to announce the addition of our crematory. I'm Luke Loffersweiler. The addition of our on-site crematory is another example of how we consistently exceed expectations and deliver a standard of service that is 100% guaranteed. At Loffersweilers, we're honored to give your family our assistance and expertise, taking care of even the smallest details before, during, and after the funeral, so you can begin the healing process. We're Loffersweiler Funeral Home, Fort Dodge, a trusted friend of the family for over 160 years.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talks.
Please meet Katie. Katie says she needs to tell her fiance the truth before their baby is born. Katie, what's going on?
Well, I'm 4 months pregnant, Jerry,
Yeah.
and I've been cheating on him with another woman.
Well, at least we know whose baby it is.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right, AM 1400 KVFD. I may be the mayor of Manville, but Matt Bemrick is mayor of Fort Dodge, and he's in the studio. So if you have a question or comment for the actual mayor, it's 515-955-1400. What's going on with that Crossroads thing out there anyway? I'm by the Crossroads thing.
The intersection?
Yeah, I was out to Hy-Vee last night, and it looked like they were really making some progress.
They're
I mean,
close. I think they've got some backfilling to do. I think there's some segments of sidewalk that had to be completed. And we did run into, and I think I covered this on a previous show, but the poles for the traffic signals.
Oh, yeah, you did, yeah.
Basically because of steel issues and some other manufacturing issues. They're not going to be here till sometime in, I think, late November.
Oh, really?
But they're going to try to open the intersection using some signage.
Yeah, stop signs, things like that.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, it looks like
I think they still got to get painting done, which paint the lane stripes and the turning lanes and all that. I think they got that still to do, but it's close. It's within days of completion. If you got to get some decent weather too.
Now, the whole point of that out there was sewer, right? I mean, pretty much.
Well, yes, and improvement of traffic flow. Yeah, I mean, we could have just did the sewer and not widen the intersections and stuff. But
traffic.
But
flow
while
is
you're
better.
going to tear up entire streets and roads and things, it's always smart to look at opportunities to improve traffic.
We've probably talked before. The old Fort Dodgers have told me over the years that was just swampy out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
practically.
Yeah, people talk about hunting ducks out there. Kid, I've had
So naturally, we
I've
built
had
them all.
Guys like your age, my dad's age, that remember like there would be a slough out there and guys had duck blinds out there and stuff.
Really?
There wasn't anything out there.
I don't remember that. Of course,
I mean,
didn't grow up here,
they former mayor Hab built a bridge there, and that kind of opened that east side up.
Yeah. He I talked with Mayor Hab before. He's a distinguished gentleman. Of the old
He
world.
did a lot of very amazing things. I mean, he regionalized our landfill.
Mm-hmm.
It was his idea, his brainchild, to bring all these small landfills, and they called them dumps back in those days, that were scattered around our region, and bring them together and consolidate them under a regional landfill authority and get the old mill land and do all that kind of stuff. And that was his brainchild.
I think we built Veterans Bridge, and Mayor Hab always says, "Well, I don't mind it if you call it the Hab home," but I don't think he likes it very much.
I don't think he thinks.
I don't think he likes it.
I believe he named it the Veterans Bridge.
I
it
think
was
he
his
probably
idea.
did.
And he's a big supporter of veterans and those that serve. So I think he prefers people to call it Veterans Bridge.
Yeah, well, he's a veteran himself, as a matter of fact, but he's
a very humble man.
He is a very humble, friendly guy.
You can get him to tell stories about things that they did, but he takes very little credit for the things that were accomplished during his time.
Yeah, well, he has told me in a couple of our conversations how he got things done. And it obviously is he knew a lot of people. A lot of people knew him.
Yeah.
And that was the key. He could call
He was
up,
liked, respected.
liked and respected. He could call up somebody in Des Moines or even Washington,
Mhm.
DC, and say, "Hi, we need to do this in our town. We need this." And
Yeah.
and boy, he could move the world that way. But he reminded me of a completely different world. I don't know how long that bridge has been out there, but I suspect the late 60s.
I think it was 1967. If I
Okay,
remember
yeah.
right.
Yeah, that very well could be, because I was probably a kid in high school then. But if you drove out there toward the crossroads from downtown, the train had come by, and you'd have traffic backed up all the way to 15th Street, you know, and beyond in some cases. So that was the necessity for the Veterans Bridge. And once they got that done, of course, that really improved.
And I believe the story I heard is they built it there instead of on Fifth Avenue South, because that was still fully Highway 20 at that time.
Oh, I
and
suppose,
in
yeah.
order to do it on US Highway 20, they had to get federal and all these different permits and stuff to build a bridge that would cross those railroad tracks on US 20. So they moved it to the north there, and my understanding, it was his idea. He's the one that picked that spot, said, "Hey, let's move it over there," and that gives more access to get services across that bridge when we have issues with trains on Fifth South.
Well, we had one today. I was out there today, and I was going to pull in.
People backed up pretty good.
Oh yeah. I was. I couldn't get anywhere. I was going to try to get into the rec center there, and a semi was parked there, blocking the access. Then I tried to get out in the CVS part. What is the pharmacy there? CVS, and it was difficult to get out because the train was there. The traffic was blocked all the way up, so I just sat in the parking lot for a while. But yeah, that was, and there was a lot of traffic just backed up all over the place, really. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. If you have a question or comment for Mayor Matt Bermick, it's 515-955-1400, 515.
I did just get a text. So some of that lane striping and the stripings out there on the intersection at 29th are getting done this Saturday.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'll be over in Waterloo at the UNI Dome, I think, at a little kid wrestling meet.
Yeah, fun.
God, I can't believe the little kids are there. There is a real network of little kid wrestlers out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's quite a thing. My son, my grandson, 7 years old, he's going all over the place, wrestling all over.
That's
awesome. But yeah, so I'll be out of town on Saturday anyway. But I look forward to that wrestling. You know, it's one thing to wrestle yourself. It's another thing to watch your son and grandson wrestle. It's kind of painful. Did any of your kids wrestle? Any of your
Grant, my youngest, went out for wrestling last year, excuse me, and it was his first year since he was a very little kid. He had a tough year. I mean, he had been out for a long time. He was a freshman, so he'll be back this year as a sophomore. He says he's going out again, and he's pretty excited he's got a little more time under his belt and workouts and things like that. So hopefully he'll have a little stronger year than he did for his first year in high school wrestling.
Yeah. It's always tough for moms to be up there in the stands with their sons wrestling.
Yeah.
And maybe the son is not getting the best of it, you know. And it was hard for me too. I was nearly thrown out of the gym, or actually not thrown out. I was nearly arrested during nearly at a Fort Dodge Eagle Grove wrestling meet.
For some reason, I'm not surprised by that.
It was a final match, and Luke was wrestling at I don't know, maybe he was wrestling at 215. I can't remember what he was wrestling. Anyway, he was winning the match against a much larger kid from Eagle Grove.
Yeah.
And at the last second, he was called for second. He'd already been warned once.
Stalling?
No, not stalling, but he was
locking hands.
Yeah, locking hands. And the match was decided by a point in overtime.
Oh man!
And I went nuts.
I bet.
I know I told you the story before. There was some guy behind me. I still don't know who he is, but he was bigger and stronger than me. And I started to take off and go crazy. And he grabbed me by the shoulders and he started whispering in my ear, "You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this." And he moved me. And I'm not a small guy myself.
No.
And he just moved me a little bit, all right out of the gym. "You don't want to do this. You want to do this." And so once I realized I wasn't going to get loose of him, I just left. And he said, "Good job, Mike." I really don't know who that was. But Doty was the police officer on duty that night, and he had me right in his laser glare. Right there, he was
he's
crazy
like,
person.
Please don't make me do this.
Dude, please don't make me do this.
You know, those officers that work the ball games and the meets and all that stuff. I mean, it's pretty rare they ever have to do anything. But I'm sure it's in their mind. They're just like, please do something.
It took me quite a while to calm down because I was so into that match. I mean,
there's some,
and then I was
you
embarrassed
look at
of course.
online, and you can really find some interesting like fist fights and stuff over little kids football, baseball games.
Terrible
stuff.
example.
You get parents get super worked up, and next thing you know, they're out there duking it out.
No, it's terrible.
It's not right.
I was embarrassed the next day. I really was, and I not long after that was an invitational, and that Eagle Grove kid came back, and I found him and apologized, and he just waited off. He was a nice kid.
Good.
Nice kid. But yeah, it was my one really embarrassing moment at high school sports, other than getting pinned by a Blue Earth wrestler so bad that I was begging the referee practically to call the fall because the guy was tearing my head off. But anyway, 515-955-1400 if you have a question or comment for the mayor, 515-955-1400 if you have a question or comment for the mayor. Now, if we don't have questions or comments, I can kick the mayor out of here 5 minutes early. I'm sure he's got other things to do, but he's here for your benefit. So there we go, 515-955-1400. Yeah, I look forward certainly to getting the Crossroads area open and moving again.
Get that intersection back open and make it easier to move around out there.
What about that bridge down on 15th Avenue South? I keep hearing about when are they going to get
that's
that
supposed to be open here. The bridge is done,
Okay.
I believe, but we actually have the road closed, I think, for some storm sewer work. I think
Is that what it is?
There's a
Derek
I'm
talked
trying to
about
remember
that.
the name of what road that is. Well, anyways, there's a large storm sewer pipe that actually goes underneath 15th. That's going to connect down to that's called Gypsum Creek, I believe.
Right.
Connect to Gypsum Creek to do some drainage in that southeast neighborhood there that has been long overdue to get done. So I'm pretty sure that's why it's closed right now. But I do remember hearing just in the last week or two that was very close as well.
All right. Matt Bemrick's been here.
Have a great weekend. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Cyclones.
Go Clones. Go Dodgers. Go Gales. AM 1400 KBFD.
I remember a teacher that I had. Now I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to. This is true. I work in the summer. I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time. Anyhow, he had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher. Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell. And he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester. And it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity. Allegiance, my love and my devotion to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose, all divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose, and that's love for country. And to the republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation, and justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
Thank you, Red Skelton. Great Red Skelton. It's 5 o'clock. Thank you for listening today. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow at 2. This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge Iowa.
Hi, this is Leslie Segretti.
And I'm Tom Kreitler, and you can hear the Money Pit every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
Another sell-off on Wall Street. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A second straight day of major losses. The Dow off 545. The Nasdaq fell 92. The S&P dropped 57.
There are fears of rising inflation and interest rates still weighing on investors' minds. However, we did come off the lows of the day because of reports that the president and Chinese leader Xi Jinping have agreed to meet next month. That helped ease some tensions. Meanwhile, tech stocks like Amazon have come under fire lately because they are some of the riskiest and most expensive parts of the market. Given the sell-off, there was some movement into safer bets like gold, which rose $34 today.
Christina Partsinevelos with the Fox Business Network on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Reaction from the White House.
The president says that he doesn't believe there's much to worry about here. He says the economy is still strong. The swoon in the markets is probably only a temporary thing. And even though the markets are down, he says they're still up 40% from where they were when the president was first elected. So he thinks that this is just a bull market correction, a temporary dip in the Dow.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House, but the president does lay blame on the Federal Reserve for hiking interest rates faster than he would like. As residents of the Florida Panhandle assess the devastation from Hurricane Michael, warnings of flash flooding in Virginia and North Carolina. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, Michael is now downgraded from hurricane status, but North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper says it has led to tragedy in his states.
This storm has now claimed a life in North Carolina. One person was killed when a tree fell on his car in Iredell County.
Cooper urged people who are still recovering from Florence to remain cautious and not take this diminished storm lightly. Virginia, like North Carolina, still seeing rising water from Michael's remnants, with an estimated 7 inches of rain expected before the storm moves out to sea, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield. Another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
From lawmakers.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. A natural gas leak forced evacuations and the closure of businesses in Clarion on Wednesday afternoon. Wright County Emergency Management Director Jim Lesser reported a crew was burying fiber optic cable in the 100 block of 2nd Street Northwest when the gas line was struck. The accident caused the evacuation and sheltering in place of nearby residents. All downtown businesses were forced to close because of the accident. Detours were set up throughout Clarion, including the rerouting of traffic on Highway 3. Crews from Mid-American Energy were on the scene to make repair to the line. The repairs to the gas line were completed early this morning. All roadways were reopened to traffic at 2 a.m. The death of a well-known medical professional in Webster City is under investigation. Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies were sent to a home in Webster City Tuesday morning for a welfare check. The body of 59-year-old Gregory Pacala was found inside. He lived in the home. An autopsy is being performed. While investigators aren't saying how Pacala may have died, they are asking anyone with information on activity in the home to call the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. In addition, there's a $500 reward for tips that lead to an arrest. Pacala was a certified registered nurse anesthetist and treated patients at Advanced Pain Clinic, which has offices in Humboldt, Belmont, and Iowa Falls. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Scott Forbes announced today in a press release that he will be leaving Webster County Emergency Management starting on October 26th. Forbes said he has accepted an offer to work in the private sector of safety. Forbes thanked the members of the Emergency Management Commission and said he will support the commission in searching for his replacement and to help the new coordinator transition into the programs and projects under the agency. Officials with the Iowa Department of Public Safety's Division of Criminal Investigation are issuing a warning about a new telephone scam. Radio Iowa's Rick Hansen reports.
The scam targets citizens when callers posing as employees of the Iowa State Police claim they have seized a vehicle with drugs inside, and the vehicle is registered to the citizen they're calling. The calls seem to be originating from the 712 area code. If the citizen does not answer or hangs up on the initial call, a secondary call is being reported as coming from 911, with the callers becoming more verbally aggressive and claiming they're with the police and that they have a warrant for the citizen's arrest. So if you receive a similar phone call, contact your local law enforcement agency and the Iowa Attorney General's office hotline at 515-281-5926 or toll free at 888-777-4590. In Atlantic, I'm Rick Hansen for Radio Iowa News.
The University of Iowa has suspended 9 fraternities for violating a moratorium on alcohol at fraternity and sorority parties. The 9 fraternities were suspended Wednesday pending further investigation. University Vice President Melissa Shiver says the blatant and systemic failure to curb holding dangerous open events with alcohol, including tailgates,
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Mark is starting off this hour in Boston. Hey, Mark, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about buying another business, and I wasn't sure whether I should put that money into buying another business or whether I should start trying to pay down my mortgage or putting money away for retirement and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Why are you buying a business?
It's a good business to buy. It yields a good return as it appears right now, what the current owner is doing there at this business. So
Does that represent a career change for you?
No. I'm a dentist. It would be another dental practice.
Oh, so you would fold it into what you're doing?
Yes, yeah. So I own one practice right now up in Mass, and I'd be trying to purchase another practice potentially.
That you would combine with yours?
Pretty much, yeah. In some respects, it'd be a different location.
Oh, so you'd have a second branch in a sense. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cool. And so, what would you be paying for the practice, the second one?
So the practice itself would sell for $500,000, $500,000, and then the real estate would cost $300,000. So it'd be a total transaction of $800,000.
And how much do you have?
Right now, I have $100,000 saved.
Okay.
So I'd have to finance the rest.
Okay. All right. And do you have other debt other than your home?
No, just our home.
No student loan debt, no debt on your former practice?
No, we paid our student loan off, and my other practice has been paid off.
And what's your household income? What is your income? What do you pay taxes on a year?
Between my wife and myself, it's anywhere between $850,000 to $900,000
a year.
A year.
And why do you only have $100,000?
Well, I took all the money to pay off debt. I mean, we had.
So you're just coming out of the cave. Okay, I got you.
Yes.
All
yes.